Miami Dolphins, they released 4 players today. Wide receivers Tyreek Hill and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, along with edge rusher Bradley Chubb and guard James Daniels. And these moves do have a dead cap hit of $56 million, but they are expected to clear around $66.9 million. And the other news in the NFL, the Browns have found their defensive coordinator as they hire Mike Ruttenberg. Ruttenberg did spend last year in Atlanta as the team's defensive pass game coordinator. Over to the Olympics, the U.S. women, their domination continues as they handled Sweden 5-0 earlier this morning. They are now going to be playing for the gold against either Switzerland or Canada. That game is expected to get underway in the next few minutes. We'll keep you posted on that result, and the eventual gold medal game is going to be on Thursday at 1. Well, on the men's side of things, the U.S., they are either going to be playing Sweden or Latvia in the quarterfinals on Wednesday. Sweden and Latvia, they're going to play tomorrow just after 3 p.m. And then looking at the medal count, Norway very clear in front with 27 total medals, Italy in second with 22, and the United States in third with 17. Norway also has the most gold medals with 12. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
There's one chip and only one chip for the guacamole. That's that Cantina Gold, thick in the yellow bag.
Mm-hmm. It's Mike Schopp.
No thin crisp, no scoops. Get out of here with hint of lime. Horrendous choice.
And the Bulldog.
The lime is just too much lime. There's lime in the guacamole. Any more lime is too much lime. You're crossing the line. You've crossed the line. If you're using hint of lime in the guacamole with the lime, you've crossed the line.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
Wow, I barely heard you in that at all. That's got to hurt.
Yeah, it stings.
It stings.
Yeah.
Like the lime dust on your lips.
Yeah, I was hoping, because I stuck up for the hint of lime. I like the hint of lime chips with a salsa, and but I guess it just, cutting room floor.
Cutting room floor.
Story of my life.
Story. Really?
That's how it goes. Yeah,
that right?
I'm being a little dramatic. Yeah.
You feel any extra pressure following them?
Tim and Brad? No.
They're coming for you.
I wouldn't.
First the lime.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't
snub, put it that way.
And now this.
Yeah.
In some order, those two things are coming for you.
Yeah.
I mean, your truck's broken.
The truck's broken. I'm driving.
Little Lexi.
No longer Little Lexi. Little Lexi
Really?
is my wife's car. She's got to work tonight, and I wouldn't get home in time for her to go to work, so I'm driving Leo's Subaru.
Oh, well.
It's the easiest of the, listen to the luxurious life we lead. 4 of us.
Who's we?
So we've got 4 cars.
Oh, your family.
Our family.
Your family.
Little Lexi is very hard to get in and out of for a man my size. It's challenging. Owen's car is even worse than that. Leo's got a Subaru Forester, no problem. Like that's got to be my wheels if his schedule will allow, because that is I can get in and out of there without contorting myself.
We cannot start the week like this. How you can't get into your car, because I'm the same.
Well, it's not my car.
Well, okay, still
the car.
Any car.
Yeah, I would not buy a car that I cannot fit into.
If you can't get into any car, look out.
There's a problem.
That is a problem.
I did go. I had my annual today. That wasn't good. It's not. I'm not in a good place.
Annual what? Your physical?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I'm weighing in like an offensive lineman. I got time for me to call these awakened people or something. I don't know. I got to do something.
You're the only one left.
It's what I'm doing. It doesn't work. I'm probably, of the people who work here, I think I probably work out more fiercely than any of them.
But you're the oldest.
I'm the oldest, and I just cannot. It's.
You've had this before.
Yes, I have. It's not, and I had this last year when I went, and
that's what I meant.
I've been going to the same doctor for a long time, and he said, "But you know what to do, right?" Because he said kind of the same thing. It's been up. This has happened. If we look at your track record, there's, I said, "Yeah, I know what to do. I'll be fine." And didn't work. I don't know what to do.
Should we crowdsource this?
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
I mean, the draft is still 2 months.
Yeah, I know.
No Sabres for another week.
We could use some content. I just don't know. I don't know how comfortable I am talking about it all on the radio.
You're doing it.
Yeah, I know. But I may want to stop like now.
Okay.
So, I don't know. My vitals are like that of an offensive lineman. And, you know this, I think. I am not an offensive lineman.
No, but it can't be that bad. I mean, I know you. You seem like you're in pretty good shape. I know you do the work.
Yeah, I definitely do the work. That's the frustrating thing.
The extra workout you're doing now, getting into your family's cars, can't hurt you. That's got to help a little bit. The extra steps you're taking, having this room occupied every afternoon now, because you got to go in, out, as opposed to just sitting there.
I guess that's right.
That can't hurt.
Every little bit.
I feel like you're on the way up. You're trending up.
Oh boy, I sure hope so. This should be rock bottom today. Honestly, last year when I went on my annual physical, first, it's probably the same everywhere. Get on the walk in. Don't even have your coat off yet. Get on the scale, please, before you're even in the office. There's like a little area where the scale is.
That's right.
Yeah. Last year I didn't even look. I didn't want to know.
What you weighed?
I did not want to know. I knew it would upset me. I'm just going to do the work, and when I feel better, I'll feel better. The number doesn't matter. I'll just know by my body and how I feel. So, but today I looked, and it was ghastly.
Well, I know you've been heavier.
Yeah. I don't know.
Really? Is that why you're wearing black?
Yeah. I got my most billowy
Is that bad?
black shirt on.
You're dressing for it?
No, it just was what came up in the rotation today. It was not intentional.
Okay, that's a relief.
So anyway. All right, we can
Want to move on?
Yeah. But it's a cry for help. The fact that I'm even saying this now is some I don't want sympathy, that's for sure, but I got to do something's got to change. Otherwise, I'm going to lean into like some alter ego, just being like the happy giant fat guy, and just go for it. But I don't want to do that either. I'm 60. That doesn't seem like a healthy plan. And I do like my life.
There's going to be an article about you soon. You don't want to, scuttle that.
Miss that out.
You can't change the plot before the article comes out.
Those pictures with that article, you told me about that on Instagram. I forgot about it for like 24 hours, and then my wife said, "Hey, there's some pictures of you and Mike on Instagram." I'm like, "Oh yeah, Mike told me about that." I'm not on there a lot, so I miss stuff.
Sure.
And I don't feel like I look like what I weigh in the pictures. Like I don't.
Well, that was a while ago.
It was. I don't think anything too dramatic has happened since.
Good.
So anyway, all right. How are you? Let's change.
Oh, really? How dare you? You would. I'm fine.
Good.
I'm excited about the 2026 Dolphin season. I'm interested. What that's going to be.
You want to get some of the Quinn Ewers experience going there, you think, maybe?
Give me any name you want.
Right.
I mean, it's not egregious that they would release Tyreek Hill. Everybody expected that. And, in fact, Tyreek Hill himself has been begging for it.
Yeah.
It seems, at least publicly.
And he's coming off a pretty devastating injury.
Yeah, the Dolphins are going to do it right. Well, the plan is, anyway. I don't know how it's going to end.
They've taken an effective first step.
Who needs to do what they've been doing again in the Josh Allen world, or even the Drake May world now? Mm-hmm. Maybe May is they fired their GM, then they eventually fired their head coach. It might not even matter what else is happening in the AFC East to the Dolphins, but what would their odds be to do anything? Over under, what do you want? 7.5?
Like if
Tua played,
if they kept going,
and Tyreek Hill were on the team, and Waddle is still there. It'd be funny if Bean were calling on Waddle today. But if you ran back the same Bradley Chubb, if you ran back the same team in this AFC East, under 7.5. What's the best case scenario? It's not that different than it was last year when we didn't have a Drake May MVP caliber season.
Right.
And Tyreek Hill hadn't had the injury, but he still, remember the year before, ends with him screaming on the sideline about wanting to leave in that game against the Jets. So it's not that different. This is what you have to do, I think. Mm-hmm. And, who is the quarterback? Quinn Ewers, someone else? I don't even know if it matters.
They shouldn't care. I really think they shouldn't care.
Well, what's the conversation, though?
Probably too strong, but you know what I mean.
Well, what is the reason? Like, how do they decide who they decide on? Is it about optics? Is it about development? What is it about? Like, what would the Dolphins tell each other, whether this comes from ownership or the owner's proxy, where he's sort of representing, we have to take a step back. What they can do that is probably good for them is that they don't have a coach who's been around or a GM. Like, they're starting over at coach and GM like the Bills did.
Yeah, there's no need. He better win now or else.
The Bills did this with McDermott, and then Bean came in later that offseason. This is 9 years ago now. And what did they do? They decided to push off drafting a quarterback, which the Dolphins probably will do. It's a different year. I mean, that year, that's Mahomes and Watson. I mean, you had first-round caliber options. But Miami will not this year. But they can – it's easier this way. I mean – look, Allen is great, but they could have had Mahomes, and that's always kind of been an interesting talking point anyway. The Dolphins don't have that distraction. They can just
their objective should be to plug somebody in, a quarterback in, and lose as many games as they can without having it look like they're doing it on purpose.
And even if
that's
it does look like it, what is that even worth anymore?
It doesn't really matter.
This is the big...
People will say it, but they don't have to care.
No, they don't. This is the big topic in the NBA. I mean, tanking isn't going away until these leagues figure out ways to de-incentivize losing. And they have not done that yet. Whether you have a lottery or not, this is a thin year in the draft for quarterback. Miami doesn't care. When do they pick? I don't even know. 10th? Something like that? 9th? I don't even know. Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Doesn't affect them. There's no second or third guy, it seems so far,
right,
that would go there. So all the same to them. It's easier for them to sort of get away with it, push it off a year, and, see what next year looks like. And maybe in 2026, they'll be the worst team in football. Very possible, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I want to do with Achane in a fantasy context for this, or Waddle. But I think that's the writing on the wall with Miami.
Yeah, well,
and they have a new coach and GM, like I started to say.
Right.
And that this affords them, they can't lose. I don't think the coach and GM can lose this way because losing is the point.
Right.
And they won't look bad. I don't know if Aaron Glenn is a usable comparison for this, but the Jets weren't trying to tank, actually.
No,
they
I don't
brought
think
him
so.
in for credibility. They went with Justin Fields. And that went so far south that they just bailed on that. I don't know. I think Miami is probably looking at a very long year, which they probably should want.
Just put your head down and try to get through it. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. You mentioned, would it be, I don't know what word you used just now, talking about Bean trying to trade for Jalen Waddle. But, the sticking point reportedly about that back in October was that the Bills wanted to give Miami, as their principal return in the trade, a first-round pick for the 2027 draft, and Miami wanted it for this year. Well, new people in place wouldn't, if we're correct about assessing the situation that they find themselves in, plug some dude in, Quinn Ewers or someone else, get through the year, you're almost definitely going to lose a lot. Wouldn't an extra, this is the Bills in 2018, wouldn't an extra 2027 first-round pick come in pretty handy? If that is going to be your year, right? We can assume whatever kind of record you may have a great draft pick no matter what, because you're going to be so bad. But having an extra one could afford you the opportunity. If you're drafting 5th, maybe you can get to 1. With the 5th pick and the
I want to hear this number
20-something pick.
Oh,
I'm gonna go.
You
with
left it in the 20s.
The 20-something pick.
So it's not a Super Bowl year.
I don't. Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
That should help them. So maybe you can re-engage there. I don't know. It's just a thought that came to mind thinking about that hang up on that reported trade.
That's right.
So you see, Bean wanted to help them. He already knew where they were going to end up. He was trying to help them by offering 27, not 26.
Apologies in advance because this is a fantasy point, and not every player in the NFL draft is a skill position player that gives you fantasy points. But everybody for months has preferred the 27s to the 26s.
Yes.
So whether that's quarterback, especially if it's quarterback.
Which is what I thought was weird. That was around back when this trade was talked about. And that's why I think I even said then, isn't it being widely talked about that the 27 draft is better? Mm-hmm. You'd rather have an extra there, and Miami balked and whatever. It never really made sense. But anyway, they're just scorched earth at this point.
And that has not happened, has it? I mean, the Dolphins had the 1 year with Flores and Fitzpatrick where they started, like they were 0-10 maybe or something like that, but they pulled it together. And that might have been the year where they beat New England in the final week at Foxborough with Brady. And they just didn't end up picking that high, if I remember right. But, yeah, I think Miami is probably setting up for that kind of season. Well, that's one side of it. Tyreek Hill, unless you want to talk about tomorrow's free agent idea of the day today, that'd be Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. Tyreek Hill on the market. You have said, I don't want him anywhere near the Bills. I don't want to talk about it. I think this is like a complete non-starter.
I'll talk about anything. I'm going to be hard to convince that that's a good idea.
If he didn't have the off-the-field baggage, would you want to do it?
Yeah, it's almost entirely about bringing what I think is widely considered to be an awful human being onto your team. And I don't know, you can tell me I should get over that.
Well, Travis Henry did just get a pardon from the president.
Not necessarily you.
So I don't think you have to care about this out there.
I guess I choose to.
I feel like Tyreek Hill will get pardoned someday.
Yeah.
I would bet that plus.
And I think there's also his age and the injury he's coming off of are, I think, valid concerns at the very least, if not flat-out reasons to not be interested in the market. If you even want to put my concerns about the level of human being he appears to be over there for now, which, in football conversations, sometimes you need to do that. I think there's even on the field, what should you be expecting at his age with that injury? It was a dislocated knee and torn ligament. So whatever, he'll play again, I assume. But what am I getting? His chief asset is speed.
Chief,
like that's no coincidence there. That's his thing. That's what he has made his bones in the league on, is being elite as far as speed goes. And having a significant leg injury could be a problem.
It could.
So I'm not ready to assume he's going to be what he's been. And then there's then I can I put character over there for now. Now if I want to bring it back as a final exclamation point on no thanks, that's pretty much where I am.
I don't want him either.
I want to do better at receiver. I want to be younger and not have questions about whether a guy's going to come back from his injury or not.
Well, you could do both. I don't know if you can get Tyreek Hill. Even at 32 off that injury, will Kansas City not want him? Will other teams maybe just be able to outdo the Bills if the Bills wanted him in the first place? But you could do both things. I think the Bills maybe should want to. Whereas one from column A, one from column B. You're going to go into free agency for some fit at that position. And why wouldn't we start the week on this subject, by the way? I mean, obviously. So you would want to fill one hole if you can at some price point in free agency, and then the draft is the next, maybe even more important thing for this. And, that's probably what's called for, I think, is you go into next year with two new assets.
At least. Yeah.
At least.
Maybe even three. But, I agree with that.
As long as it's not Tyreek Hill.
And one of those could be some form of a dart throw reclamation, Chase Claypool level. Like I'm not saying him specifically, but I think you understand what I mean.
He might be available.
Hope our audience does. I saw a video of him working out. Like I think he's raising his hand. Like, hey, I'm ready to try again.
You did?
Yeah.
When?
Last week.
Really?
Yeah. So, it wasn't.
Are you following him?
He didn't know. It just, it's crap just shows
Field
up
Yates?
in your feed. I don't know where it came from.
Probably somebody from Canada.
It did show Mapletron. It did show up. So, that level of, I'm not against trying some more of that. But to me, you just better have a better idea than 32-year-old Tyreek Hill coming off of severe knee injuries.
Well, the question is, what is that idea?
Yeah.
Because free agency is not rich this year. So you don't have a 28-year-old version of Tyreek Hill, even if that's $30 million a year. That's not out there. I don't know what's out there that's that interesting. But it's always, in my mind, two questions at once, which is, first, would the Bills want to invest at that position because they've kind of only done it in half measures, mostly, especially in free agency. Diggs was a big move. That's 2020, so that's 6 years ago almost now. But they've kind of done it in half measures. Claypool, no offense to him. And then there's that move, and then there's the draft aspect of it. And I think you'd have to admit, I know you would say this, that's not their only position of need in this draft. I mean, they are at a little bit of a low point in roster depth, overall talent. And they have a lot of needs. Offensive line, this is new. Last year, we sat around and smoked cigars over how they didn't even need backups. All their backups were coming back, as well as their starters. So, this is easy street. So, that's different now. I'm not going to, right yet, push on running back. But I'm going to want to at some point in the next 2 months. Talk about running back as a draft. Last year they didn't do it? Oh, wait a minute. I got it. Last year they were all set at running back. Same guys, right? Mm-hmm. Cook. This is funny to me. Cook, Johnson, Davis. Davis goes and ends up first team All-Pro at kick return, but they never gave him the ball, really. Johnson gets hurt. And then we're in the playoffs, and there's no playing.
Frank Gore Jr.
It's Frank Gore Jr.
Yeah.
You couldn't have used, who do I want to cherry pick with? You couldn't have used
somebody that was picked on a Saturday.
Bashal Tootin or somebody like that. That's fine. You had to have more linebackers or DBs. Where was I? I think, running back, or not running back, wide receiver is a position of need. It's not the only one. And I think it's tougher this year to justify loading up there in the draft than last year. Because last year you didn't really have as many holes, right. I think. But what they did last year anyway was go big on defense, and this is pushing all their chips in. Really? Wasn't it? I mean, wouldn't you say that?
Yeah.
They pushed all their chips in on defense, and they went down in the playoffs 33-30. That's kind of how it's been most years. Well, Tyreek Hill, and for that matter, Nick Westbrook-Akine, heading to the market.
Well, one of the other big positions of need that they do have is also at another spot that Miami divested themselves of a
pass rush,
fairly well-known player, and that's Bradley Chubb.
You don't want to do that, though, do you?
I don't think I want to do that.
That's when it was obvious Miami was drunk.
When they made that trade?
Yes. I think Tyreek Hill, go for it.
Yeah.
You're paying your quarterback. Everybody wants to have two top receivers.
And it worked for them well enough for a while. Their fastball was Achane, Waddle, Hill, elite speed, good luck covering us.
He had back-to-back 1,700-yard seasons for Miami, and they were in the playoffs both times. It was a valiant effort.
Yep.
But Chubb was when, oh, no. That's
right.
Don't ever do this.
Yeah.
They gave up so much for him.
Yeah.
And did he ever make a difference at all? Did it ever really matter that they had him on their team?
No, I don't think so. There were injuries that largely undid it, but even he was relatively healthy last year, I think. But that's not. look, almost anybody who he had, I think he had 8.5 sacks and maybe 10 the year before, or the last time he was healthy, whenever that was.
What's Rousseau?
Right. So it's not, to me, don't ever talk to me about it, because at the right price, I might be interested. But I'm going to want to let it sit for a while. Like, I don't need to be running up to the counter going, I've got my Bradley Chubb ticket. I'm ready to talk. Let's just let the dust settle and see what kind of market he has. And if he ends up at a sort of any kind of a prove-it deal, then, I might raise my hand, because they are really nowhere at that position.
The Bills.
Yeah. So I'm not closing the door on it, but it's not an idea that excites me.
I'm just not even sure he was even good, but I'll let other people tell me whether I'm right. 803-0550 is the number. We will talk to Chad DeDominis today. Expected Buffalo on the Sabres. The trade deadline. We're still 9 days away from their next game, but we have the Olympics to talk about too, and that has been pretty cool. Lines are open for your calls. What do the Bills need the most this offseason? Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. We'll be right back. This is WGR.
There are two just glaringly obvious players the Bills should release and create cap space. One of them is Curtis Samuel, and that would create $6.1 million in savings. Just seems obvious. Be done here. He's not been available for 2 seasons. Quit planning for him to be part of the mix, not having him, and then kind of missing out on a layer to your offense. Just be done. The other one that feels very obvious to me is Taylor Rapp. That would free up $3.1 million in savings. So right there, those two moves, easy.
That is Joe Marino. That is not, it sounds like it's not on one of our shows because it was clear.
Part of his locked on.
Right?
Locked on.
You could actually hear that clearly.
Yeah.
There's not that sort of that.
Although Joe, I do believe is still doing a Wednesday appearance with the guys in the morning.
Chris Trapasso this Wednesday with us.
Yes, sirree.
Why wait?
Let's get right after it.
Tomorrow or Wednesday is Chris. Thursday is Cody Carpentier.
Tomorrow is John Ledgard.
What a lineup. I mean, get ready. Still 2 months away, but still.
I want to treat it like it's 2 days away.
Yeah, me too.
For 2 months. It's a lot of urgency to keep up, though.
The thing about this life, though, with the draft is the Bills, again, pick so late that a lot of the cool stuff you can't even really talk about realistically. Like, it's a waste of time.
Right.
Obviously, that's quarterbacks, but this year there's only the one guy, Mendoza. I guess maybe there's a conversation about somebody else trading up or whatever changes here in the next while. But really, like, wide receiver, again, there have been, how many? 3 or 4 per year each of the last 3 years, maybe, or more, that were just kind of off the table.
Right.
Because the Bills picked so late.
And that's the case again this year. I think there's at least 2,
yes,
if not 3 guys that I think you can just, without some sort of a dramatic trade up, just say, yeah, I'm not getting to that.
Right.
But there are, I think, also still, like I'm still, I'm not exactly, I don't have a catalog yet of mock drafts that I've looked at.
Come on.
But the ones that I have seen have often 5 receivers going in round 1. There was a lot of talk already before even looking at mock drafts. Some of the draft people I follow mentioning top 100 prospects, 15 receivers being listed within the top 100. Now that's almost taking you through Friday. Right, that's 96 guys, 96 picks. I don't know if there's compensatories, but you get the point. There's a lot of guys in the pool on the top end here, depending on how deeply you want to consider top end. But 15 out of the top 100 sounds like a lot. So I think you should be able to find your type, find a match, and do something there, whether it's at late in the day on day 1 or into day 2, you should be able to come away with somebody who's going to get on the field for you this year in the draft, I think.
As of right now, which, again, rights are reserved to change your mind as we get closer. There's still so long to go before the draft. But the name is Casey Concepcion. This is the player that enough people are sort of thinking of the Bills for. This would probably be, it looks to me like likely wide receiver 5. You said, what, 4 or 5 guys? I think he's probably 5.
Yeah.
Maybe, at best, depending on whether somebody else, by the time you get that late, has a different taste for what they want at wide receiver. But you've got Carnell Tate, Tyson, Lemon, Boston. Easy enough. Denzel, Boston. Easy enough names to remember. That, right, I mean, maybe the number 1 guy you have 0%. The second and third guy you might have 5%. The fourth guy you might have 20% of a look. And then Concepcion could be closer to 50%. Maybe even better. So if you like him, Bills, then that's the name to watch. And that's trading up a few spots if you think you have to. Mm-hmm. And after him, then you're in, dare I put it this way, Keon Coleman territory where Brian Thomas has just come off the board. And not that he was great in year 2, but still, he had a huge rookie season. And now you're at Worthy, Coleman, Leggett, Pearsall, Polk. I mean, who of those guys has really done anything?
Right. And this year's version of that maybe is going to be Omar Cooper, Chris Brazzell from Tennessee, Jacoby Lane from USC. I could keep going, but I'm just saying names here. Not that they're made up. I mean, they're in the rankings.
Oh.
But these are guys that are below, but still, I mean, Cooper, again, one site, CBS Sports. Just not out of deference to Chris Trapasso, he doesn't work there anymore, but it was always just an easy to navigate portal for me doing the show. So I sort of leaned on that. And Cooper they have him as the 30th overall prospect. So that's still first round, but barely. And speaking of what I said, the 15 out of 100, according to these people, the 89th ranked prospect overall is a guy named Zachariah Branch from Georgia, and he is wide receiver 17. And then there's a drop into the 100s for didn't Chris talk about Kevin Coleman Jr.?
Yes.
Right? He's not a first rounder or not in the top 100 according to CBS.
It sounds like I should want to do this in round 2.
Yeah, maybe.
By that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot.
Well, I guess that's still good.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. I think they should do probably a little bit of everything at the receiver position, recognizing that I don't know, how hell-bent might they be to find a safety to start opposite Cole Bishop? I think they could be. I mean, you just heard the clip of Joe Marino. He's not the only one saying, Taylor Rapp, see you later. I'm in that camp. So I probably have a need for another safety, unless you want to try to bring Jordan Boyer back again. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, come on.
Right? I did see a clip last week of him talking about, I might not be done. So anyway, just saying.
This is how I talk.
They're going to have other positions they need to address. But as far as receiver goes, I think drafting one before Friday night of the draft ends, right? So top 3 rounds, I think drafting one is absolutely called for. I think, and that does not get eliminated if you do make a trade for Jalen Waddle or Brian Thomas Jr. or whomever. What could complicate that is that's probably going to cost you a first-round pick. Either this year or next year, depending on what a team wants. And that will mitigate, obviously, your ability to replenish defensive end and safety and all those other spots. But I think a proven, the best receiver on your team type player, a trade for that player is called for, as is drafting someone in the top, top 100 of the draft.
Robert Duvall may or may not have said, I might not be done as recently as
sadly that ended today.
What a legend. Well, every year is different. We've had a couple with the draft where it's like, do whatever you want. Wide receiver got neglected. Then we got frustrated because it had been neglected. So all the defense, it's not that it's all that different from the last couple of years, but the draft, of course, affords you a chance to get younger, and the Bills need that. And on defense especially, I would say, and cheaper. But, I mean, you mentioned Poyer, Trey White, Bosa, Milano. That's Taron Johnson. I mean, that's 5 important players that are all at or near the end of their careers. You have to retool on defense. And enough already with these draft picks on defense in recent years, but there has to be some of that. There will be some of that because it's not out of line, really. Offensive line is the same thing. A little bit of age, a couple of departures. They have a lot of work to do. And whatever it is they actually pull off, it'll still be, Josh Allen plus 900 to win the Super Bowl. Whatever it is, if they do nothing, it'll still be that.
That's right.
But it would feel better to have an influx of, that's the word, right? That's the only word here, the influx of young talent for next year. That would feel better. And I don't know if wide receiver, where it ranks exactly on this list for that. I mean, they have Coleman. They have Kincaid. If they don't like him or they don't trust Kincaid physically, then okay. But even Shakir, these are not guys in their 30s. This is not Cooks and Diggs we're talking about. These are younger players than that. And on defense, they have other guys who you might think could be at the end the actual end, right? I don't know if that's Milano. Close, though.
But, yeah, in some of these guys, you don't have to do – well, you don't have to do it. You can choose to bring them back, but their contracts are up. Like, Bosa's a free agent. Right. I got to look on White. I think he just signed a 1-year deal to come back, so I'll bet he's up. I can find that pretty easily, I think. So, yeah, there's guys that are –
That had better have been a 1-year deal.
I don't want to say the decisions are going to be made for them, but – kind of, like you don't have to decide if you want to do something with them. You got to decide whether you want to bring them back or not. That's different than having to retool their contract, right? Milano is up. So, that's over. Johnson is not. That's different. Do I want to reshape his contract and try to get another year or two out of him? Or is the importance of having him mitigated by the scheme switch? If I'm not going to be in nickel as often as I've been, then do I need a fairly highly compensated player who is that's his job? Maybe not. Maybe that's not a priority. You'll have someone who will play nickel for you, but it's have to be a priority to the point where you're talking about a cap number that's, $11.5 million.
Who's that?
Taron Johnson.
Chad DeDominis. Who's that? Chad DeDominis expected Buffalo coming up at 4. We'll do some hockey with Chad. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR. Welcome back. We'll talk Sabres. Chad DeDominis joins us in about 15 minutes. Women's hockey. Canada and Switzerland playing now in the second semifinal game, scoreless after one. The U.S. beat Sweden 5-0 because that's the only score they can pull off is 5-0.
That's right.
Earlier today, you and I both watched this game or some of it. I thought in the first period it was pretty obvious, and I respect them for this, that Sweden was going with the, relatively rare 6-goalie approach. Everybody's just going to stand in front of the net.
Protect the house. Right. Yeah.
A version of the sumo wrestler idea.
Right.
I respect it in that this is what I wanted the Bills to do all those years when they went into games against New England as 11-point underdogs, saying about, we expect to win every game. Oh, great. How's that going to go?
Maybe try something.
Maybe sort of accept that you're an underdog here and be different, like the Dolphins did, by the way, to the tune of an AFC East title in the middle of one of those drought years when they ran the Wildcat. But the Bills couldn't have ever. So Sweden then, but to my surprise, second period, they're like playing pretty even with the Americans until this was actually funny at home. Because my wife stepped out of her office for a minute and she's really into this tournament. And I said, listen, it wasn't even like in a mansplain voice. It was like, if they're going to play against a team like this, you've got to get a cross-ice pass and a one-timer. And then immediately that happened and they scored. Great moment for me. I mean, we kept our clothes on, but I thought there was a chance. 2-0, then boom, 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 5-0. Skamura puts it on the bed.
Yeah. Oh, that okay. Yeah.
That should count for like a goal and a half.
Okay.
If it can land on that, what are we calling it? Something else? You know what I mean now, though.
I know what you mean now, yeah.
There's a bed at the back of these nets.
Like some apparatus at the bottom of the net there that I've never seen before. Yeah.
Might help, actually, I'm just guessing at this, to keep pucks from bouncing out so fast, but with the cameras, they shouldn't even have to worry about that.
Yeah, well, I got into I don't know what time it was in the game that the U.S. got their second goal, but I know it was the second period when I turned it on. Pretty late. And it was 1-0. And they're like, oh, wow, this is they're being tested here. And like in real time, about 15 minutes later, it was 5-0. It's just like they just blitzed them at the end of the second period, and that was it. Lights out.
That Murphy, she's so good. Abby Murphy, 37. I'm not sure. Is that Marchand's number? Because she has the reputation.
No, he's 63, Marchand.
Oh, but if you add it, it's 100.
Yeah, so that's probably why she did it.
So she has that kind of reputation, but is so good with the puck. And that one, you saw that goal then. She's like the bottom of the circle, and the goalie's big, and she still put it right over her head.
Yep.
Or right over her shoulder next to her head and in. If you Google her name, you're going to see a play you've never seen before in hockey, which is she playing for, I guess, Minnesota, right? University of Minnesota.
I'm not sure where she goes to school.
She is on the left wing in a 2-on-1 or a 2-on-2 even, and she picks the puck up like you would do to sort of flip it to the linesman on a face-off, like just sort of lift the puck for the linesman and pass it to them in the air. She lifts the puck and then turns the blade over and bounces it through the defenseman's legs. They have no idea what this is. She takes the puck on the bounce.
I've seen this goal.
And passes it for a one-time goal. Like, that's who we're dealing with. That team is so good. I'm not women's hockey historian guy, but if they win the next one, and they have beaten Canada decisively throughout.
Including in this tournament already.
Then that's like an all-time run where they just never don't have the puck. I mean, they're making line changes in the offensive zone in this tournament all the time. And just cycling and cycling and cycling. Everybody's going off. What a nightmare
they're
to play against.
They're dominant. And they've even been dominant on the ice, you just said it, against Canada. And that has been traditionally, that's been a rivalry. Canada's had the better of it as far as like winning the medals and stuff in the Olympics. But, it's been tight. And this year is the first year I can recall that it doesn't really look that close.
They haven't given up a goal since the first game. And that's the longest streak in Olympics history for not allowing a goal. I was watching that game when I saw the goal against. It was against the Czechs. And it was just like the perfect timing of somebody coming out of the penalty box, and USA bobbled the puck on the power play, and it got passed out, and she went in and scored. That's the only goal they've allowed in, what is it now, 6 games?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it was a great time going to see them play at the arena several months ago on the circuit before the season. Just really, I think they won that game 6-1 against Canada. And I have 9 cents left in a certain online gaming account. I might use it. This might be when I use it. 9 cents.
9 cents to win 1. Maybe. So
hopefully it's like 3. But it's a baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps to get that account back in order. No, I've got some curling futures that are not dead.
All right.
But I bet against Canada women today, and I think I lost that. One missed shot set me. The vibes are so bad with Team Home and Bulldog. Just like...
No, I'm sorry to hear that.
For them, yeah. I mean,
I was
just so...
completely disingenuous.
Bad
I don't
vibes.
really care. But it seemed like a nice thing to say.
They're not dead, though.
Yeah.
Chad, as you know, Chad DeDominis is next, talking Sabres and the trade deadline. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Big changes coming for the Miami Dolphins. They release 4 players today, wide receivers Tyreek Hill and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, along with edge rusher Bradley Chubb and guard James Daniels. And these moves do have a dead cap hit of $56 million, but they are expected to clear $66.9 million. And the other news in the NFL today, the Browns find their defense coordinator in Mike Ruttenberg. Ruttenberg spent last season in Atlanta as the team's defensive passing game coordinator. Over to the Olympics, U.S. women, their domination continues. They handle Sweden 5-0 and will now play for gold against either Switzerland or Canada. And for that game, Canada is up 1-0 early in the second. That eventual gold medal game is going to be on Thursday at 1. While on the men's side of things, the United States, they're going to play either Sweden or Latvia in the quarterfinals on Wednesday. Sweden and Latvia, they play tomorrow just after 3. And then looking at the medal count, Norway very clearly in front with 27, Italy in second with 22, and the United States in third with 17. Norway, though, has the most gold medals with 12. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Schopp and the Bulldog.
I have a leg injury and a foot injury right now.
A leg and a foot. Are they on the same
side of my body?
Side of your body?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Left.
What happened to you?
I got stung by a bee, and then I think I got stung by another bee.
Oh, come on.
I think I did.
When did this happen?
Last night.
Last night?
Last night. Who knew?
It's Mike Schopp.
Just never thought about getting stung by a bee at night. I don't know. But there would still be bees at night.
I guess.
Not to sound like the flat earth thing. The bees just don't disappear when it gets dark.
Okay, but I've never seen one at night.
Well, it's dark.
And the Bulldog.
Maybe they would not be out at night, but you disturbed it, so it came out and said, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, they weren't expecting me.
I'm in here trying to watch the Vietnam War on PBS, right. And you're what are you doing sitting down in the chair? This is my time.
You are not supposed to. Right. This is our time.
Right.
That's what the bee said.
Right. So
on behalf of the other bees.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
I have bees. I guess I got stung that one time 50 years ago, so of course I do. But I have bees, carpenter bees.
All right.
They don't really care about me. They care about perfectly round circles in my wood in the siding.
Yeah.
That's what they're about. And then eating out ants, I guess, or whatever else is in there. Bugs.
Whatever you say.
Yeah. Carpenter bees for the win. Hashtag carpenter bees. Who says hashtag anymore? With us now on the Western hotline. We just text. Chad DeDominis, always a pleasure to welcome Chad to the show. Expected Buffalo at CM DeDominis. Chad, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Are you enjoying Olympic hockey, men and women, Chad?
Yes, I am. Yes. The women's ones that I've seen the U.S. dominate has been really cool. And the men's side has been with a couple games exception. I think it's been more competitive maybe than I remember in the past, especially when NHL players were in it. So that's kind of cool to see.
Are you old enough to remember, listen to this question, Bulldog, NHL players in the Olympics, Chad?
Yes, I am old enough to remember that. Yeah, I'm not that young.
What's your first Olympic hockey memory? Like what year? Salt Lake?
Oh, man. Probably. I mean, it's hard to go that far back. I mean, obviously the Olympic memory that's burned into my brain is the Sidney Crosby, Ryan Miller one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have memories beyond that too, but they're not as burned in as that one.
Yeah.
2010.
Before we get into the meat of it here, talking about the Sabres and the season so far and what they may need here as far as like trade deadline ideas go, Chad, let me just pick your brain a little bit on this tournament so far. And knowing that Thompson has played just over 9 minutes now, the last 2 games of this thing so far.
Total?
9 minutes in each game.
Oh, okay.
And, the power play, but 5-on-5, he's hardly seeing the ice. But he's scored a couple of power play goals, so I feel like he's probably safe in the lineup. But I don't know, how are you feeling about his ice time and how safe he is in the lineup?
At 5-on-5, the ice time isn't that surprising to me. I mean, on that team, the way it's built, he's a third-line winger, especially playing wing, which we know isn't necessarily his strong suit from the Sabres. He's probably better in the middle. So the ice time doesn't surprise me. I didn't like the line combo. Actually, I don't like a lot of the line combos or even pairs that Mike Sullivan has going there, but it's probably a different conversation. But I think he's safe from a power play aspect. Like you said, he's scored a couple power play goals. I think he's made some plays here and there on the power play that'll keep him in the lineup. Particularly at 5-on-5, I don't think he's really been that great. But a lot of that, again, kind of goes back. I don't think he fits that best on the wing. I don't think he fits that best in the style they're asking him to play, being that low in the lineup. But that's kind of what you get when you have a team full of all-stars. You kind of you got to switch. Go from a first-line center to a third-line winger. You got to switch up the game a little bit, and maybe it's not going the best for him.
Early this year, when the Sabres were floundering, even though some of their metrics weren't so bad, Bulldog, you were sort of frustrated with Thompson defensively. Yeah. Has that gotten better to your eyes or Chad's? I mean, if they put another way, I mean, I know they have very different options for their lineup than the Sabres would, Team USA. But if they relegated him to a lower position because they didn't think he was playing enough of a two-way game, would that be fair?
Are we talking about the Sabres or the Olympic team?
USA. I mean, if he comes into the season, if not the Olympics, with a certain reputation for being one-sided as a player. Yeah. I wonder if that has gotten better. Is all I'm asking.
I mean, I think to certain degrees it's improved. I don't think it's by any means a strong suit. And to be fair, I don't think they're asking him to play like a checking line role in the Olympics either. I think when they want to do that, they rotate him out with Trocheck, which they've done. But when they want to go create some offense, then he's out there with Larkin and I think it was Keller last game. Before that, it was Connor. So I think they're kind of using him and Trocheck as a rotation, depending what they want out of that line. I mean, to be honest, I think Larkin really has not been as good as he was during the Four Nations. I think that's a bit of a disappointment for them, too. And there's still time here. Right? These are the games that matter now. So we'll start seeing how some of these guys look. And if they look better than they've looked in group play, which hasn't been overly impressive by any means, like I said, that's a couple games to work out. And then, you're probably going to get Sweden in the quarters, which the team hasn't looked great, but can definitely match you on talent.
Yeah, and conversely, Dahlin, I think, has maybe been Sweden's best player. He's getting a ton of ice. It was curious. I think you remember just last year, Chad, the Four Nations. He wasn't on special teams, and he was just sort of kind of down in the pecking order. They were deferring to Hedman and Carlson in all kinds of situations, and especially special teams. And that has turned around. I think they saw the light on playing Dahlin more prominently, and I think they're getting paid off for it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they learned their lesson there, it seems like. Hedman just got back, but he hasn't been great. Rasmus Anderson hasn't really looked great for them. I mean, honestly, a lot of that team, to be honest, hasn't looked that good. But, yeah, I think Dahlin's been very good for them. Forsling, too, along with him in that pair. I think that team is really kind of being dragged along by Nylander, Dahlin, and Forsling to this point to get them where they are. Now they have, like I said, they have the talent to definitely get going, and in a winner-take-all situation, and that's a risky game. But, in terms of Dahlin, I think it's been great. And it's good, on a national, global stage. Yeah. I think for people to see him and understand he is one of the best defensemen in the world that just has played on a bad team for a long time, that's pretty good for him.
Chad DeDominis is on the Western Hotline with us. To sort of circle back to Mike's question about Thompson as it pertains to the Sabres and his defensive play overall, I would, and we can launch from here into what we all think of what's been going on here. I think when you win like 20 out of 25 games, a lot of your complaints kind of go by the wayside. You see the team differently than when it looks like you're starting down the path to a 15th straight year out of the playoffs. So for me, I would say I'm not noticing Thompson as negatively impacting plays defensively as I was. That doesn't mean it's not happening. It's just like I've got different glasses on, I think, to an extent, because the results have been good. Or maybe, Chad, you can tell us if his overall play has gotten that much better. Because I feel like he's kind of who he is. So it would surprise me if he made great strides in that area. But effort can go a long way defensively, and maybe he's just dialed in a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's helped. it's hard to say. I don't know if he's come a long way. I think positionally he understands his responsibilities more. I think playing with Doan and Benson on his wing for the most part, along with Tuck, has been helpful. There's stretches, though, of both Thompson and Tucker, I think, have sometimes extended stretches of just not being impactful within a game. And then the nice thing is, the depth this team has shown, that hasn't been a big deal. Where in years past, like, if your first line's not going, forget it. They've had the ability to be 3 lines deep at least for the majority of the season when they're fully healthy. So that's good. But, I think the defense playing better. I think they're buying in to, being better on the net as a team from a defense and a forward group. There's less second chance opportunities, something I really noticed this season. And I think that's helping them in their defensive zone. They're able to get the puck out quicker. They're not giving up those high quality chances they were in the past. And that's kind of helping everybody out.
So, Chad, Money Puck has the Sabres playoff odds at 68.1%, just better than 2 out of 3. Intuitively, does that sound about right, high or low?
I honestly think Money Puck is one of the lower odds. If you go to some of the other sites, I think they're higher, somewhere like in the 70s. But I think that's about right. I think 65 to 75% kind of seems about right. Maybe 65 on the lower end. When you really think about what they would have to do to fall out of it, I think I haven't looked at the standings in a while because I've taken a break from it, living in it every single day for the last month. I think they're like a 5 or 6 point lead still. So it's
5.
You're right there. Yeah, you're right there. The team that really honestly scares me, if anybody catching them from not currently in the playoff position, would be Ottawa if their goaltending comes together. But even them, they're pretty far back. You got to jump teams. It's only 25 games too. To make up 5 to 7, 8 points in 25 games would be a task. I always think about, like, if I was the Sabres in Ottawa's position, we'd be sitting here like, come on, they're not making that run. It's a lot, and we're nervous because it's 14, 15 years where, oh my God, the floor is going to fall out here. But we're 56 games in. They are what they are. They are a playoff team that is competing for top 3 in that division. And they're in a great spot. You just got to win a little over 500 of your games, 500%, 500 of the games, and like a 565, I think, gets them to like 97 to 98 points, something like that. And then, I don't know, if you have a year where you get 98 to 100 points and you can't get in, then I don't know. You're just never going to make it.
Fold the franchise. Right. If that happens. What's your version of how they've turned it around this year?
I think it's a little bit what I said. It's the buy-in. Buy-in to the type of game that they have to play. And really, this team, think about the last few years, they've been a rush team, right? That they like to get out and go. And if you take that away from them, they don't. The way I've always put it is they don't have a curveball. This year they have a curveball. They're a different team. I think Josh Stone goes a lot into that. Has really helped them be a different team with their forwards and their makeup. But I think it's gotten, Benson, he plays that style, and some other guys kind of feeding into that, and they've been a more effective forechecking team. I think Noah Offlin is a very underrated forechecking player that they've added here. So they're a deeper team. I think that's what it is. They're deeper offensively. If it's not so much of Tage and going, you're in trouble. They have scoring all throughout their lineup. I think when I did the last production pace update, like they had like 6 or 7 guys on pace for 50 points or higher. So they can get scoring when they want it, and defensively they've committed. Power has gone ways. I think defensively it's been really good for them the last 2 months of the season. Byram has played better. I think he's coming back a little bit, but still, I think that top 4 has been solid. And not to mention Samuelson all of a sudden is like a Norris defenseman now. So right. When you add all that in, they're a better 2A team, and it has reflected.
Chad, I've referred to it this way. Those top 4 on defense, I feel like, are as close to a superpower as they have. Like that just is so impactful at both ends of the ice, getting out of your own zone promptly without a lot of distress or giveaways that turn into chances and or goals. And then, of course, in the offensive zone, they're all, including Samuelson, which is still an adjustment. I got to chuckle as I say it. Deep behind the goal line, still capable of getting back and still, defending when it's called for. But they are playing a lot. And the other two defenders has been somewhat of a rotating cast. Timmins has been hurt. Kesselring has never really been right yet this year, and I don't know how much to count on that changing at some point here. So I feel like if we were to start in on a conversation about what they need, that's where I'm looking, is someone to lift their bottom pair to where you can live with it for 15 to 17 minutes maybe and not have everybody else, those big four, playing 25 minutes a night.
Yeah, I think I looked at it a couple weeks ago when I did an article on it. Like their top four are all top 60 in time on ice. And like they were like it might be the only team or maybe one of two teams that have that. I think it's the only team at the time that had that, which is pretty insane. And it kind of reflect a little bit at the end here going into the break when really it kind of felt like just get to the bell, just get to the break, reset. You started to see it. I think Samuelson, defensively started to have some just tired. Byram, same thing. A lot of the guys, all of them, they look tired. And with Bryson and Metza playing very little until Bryson was hurt, and then the last game he played 4 minutes and terrorized you in those 4 minutes, and that's tough. And I think Bryson's done a decent job stepping in when asked, but clearly not his best game. Like you said, Kesselring just hasn't had it, and I'm curious with some time off, and the injury if he looks better, but it's a little bit concerning when the coach is saying he's had some talks with him about his performance, and sometimes guys just don't fit, but I don't want to go there yet. Let's give him a little bit of time, see how it goes, see how he looks when he's healthy. But yeah, I agree. They need to get another depth defenseman here. They are one injury right in that top four from being, from like you said, being a superpower to being in trouble. So they need to find something there to help them. Timmins was okay when he was in earlier in the season. I think he was more impact on the penalty kill than a 5-on-5. If you remember back in the bleak days, the Byram and Timmins 5-on-5 pair was pretty bad. I'm not believing in a lot there, but the other part of it too is that he does have a contract for next season as well. So maybe they just see how that goes. But that's the interesting part coming out of this break that, hey, the deadline's in a week once we get going here. So there's not a lot of time to make decisions and see, especially if Timmins, it seems I think going to be ready right away. I think he was still on crutches like a week ago, they said. So, yeah, I agree. I think they really need to target a depth defenseman and more than just like a Bryson level. I think something a little bit more above that. So to your point, maybe Kesselring and some other guy can at least give you 12 minutes a night instead of 6 to 7.
Chad knows what he's talking about just from listening to him. But if you go to expectedbuffalo.com, for example, his work is a piece on Jack Quinn today, and every point is substantiated with proof, stats and charts and some highlights. So Quinn is an interesting one, Chad. This year, in general, it's a young team, almost the youngest in the league, but with a chance on a record-long playoff drought. Like, you got to do something here, I think, if you're the Sabres. Is Quinn, what is he? Is he obvious as a piece you'd want to move? Like, does he have... Is he marketable? I mean, he's young, so he might be, and his stats are okay. Like, what would you think the league thinks of him, and what do you think the Sabres think?
Yeah, he's been the one where I've been watching going back watching some shifts over the last couple of weeks. That got me into the article I wrote today, and it really started from when I did the production pace, and I saw it was like a 53-point pace, and I thought to myself, since when? Like, this doesn't seem that late from when you watch them. So I went back and dug into it, and a lot of the stuff you see with your eyes and then the metrics that lead into the defense part of it, you see it. And their struggles against teams, like Florida, Carolina, those heavier teams, they'll play the more forechecking style that you're going to see in the postseason. That kind of gets me to, is he going to struggle in that situation? Does it make sense? Is that where your replacement spot is? But then you get into the individual production numbers, and at 5-on-5 this year, he leads your team in primary assists. He's third on the team, or I think fifth on the team in goals at 5-on-5. He's second on the team in points per hour at 5-on-5. So you're like, okay. I mean, there's that offensive aspect too you have to think about. And it's almost like a specialist in a sense, but at the same time, they wrote in the article, he's statistically, by the numbers, one of the worst power play players on your team. So that's not really a specialist in that regard. It's a difficult decision. It's basically if they believe they can improve overall on a two-way game and still replace his 5-on-5 scoring, which I think they can. I definitely think he has a marketable asset. I mean, he's 24 years old. He's on a 50-point pace. Somebody will take that as a former top 10 pick, too. You know, it's not like you have to give him away to whatever. I think somebody will pay reasonable price for that, and you can then replace him with a more two-way player that, whether it's just for this season or beyond this season, you know, whatever. But, yeah, I think that's the spot I identify on this roster that if you can improve upon it, you probably want to. And if not, then – you know, okay, I guess you got to find, you know, it's up to the coaching staff to find a way in the playoffs to shelter him and hide him so he doesn't get taken advantage of.
If they are unable to swing a move, because same thing. I think if I get asked out and about, whatever, like, you know, what do you think? What could they improve on? Like, they're so hot here. I always end up on Jack Quinn. If they can't find an out of, you know, off the team addition to get a more, like you said, well-rounded two-way player, is there any chance Justin Danforth fits that description? I mean, I don't think there's any chance he's keeping pace with the offense you just described, but I wonder about him as a fit there if he ever gets healthy.
Yeah, I don't know because he only played 4 games, right? So it's hard to really know where he fits. I think Danforth, if anything, becomes rotational with whatever Greenway becomes. Honestly, in my opinion, I think Greenway is probably headed for the injured reserve, like with surgery, because that just seems to not be going well. But I think he's a rotational fourth-line guy for you. I don't think he's going to step into a Quinn spot. And plus, you know, what do you have, like a broken kneecap or something like that? I mean, I don't know. How does that go when you come back and, you know, all of that? But I do think, you know, what they're looking at is the Tuck situation makes it tricky, for sure. And I wrote about this, I think last week, is I'm in the, you know, the category, if you want to keep him and, you know, be a rental and whatever and deal with it in the summer, that's fine, great, wonderful, whatever. I get where you are as a team that you want to do that.
Yep.
The consequences of that, which I think they recognize, and I think people need to understand, is what that likely means is they're not going to go out and pay an expensive price for a rental, because you can't have that rental go, then you can't have Tuck also go, and you paid, you know, a first-round pick or your prime prospect assets, because then you go into the summer and, well, now you're dealing with, you know, a shortened cupboard, if you will, to trade with, and you have 2 guys who just walk out the door on you. So I think the focus is more on depth. We talked about defense. I think they probably want a two-way guy, maybe more of a can be a matchup centerman, some faceoffs. Like Teddy Bluger is a guy who makes a lot of sense from Vancouver. You know, he's in the Olympics right now playing for Latvia. You know, fourth-line guy, decent centerman. He's on a tear right now with the scoring, actually. Just coming back from an injury himself. I think he's played 10 games now. I think that's the kind of player you're looking at. Maybe like you know, a third or fourth line guy that can make you more of a two-way guy and kind of shifting my focus to playoffs. You know, I'm looking for matchup guys because I don't think they really have that on this team right now.
Right.
And that could become a problem in the playoffs. So I'm kind of looking for somebody that I can put out there, you know, 60 to 70% of the time in a playoff series against the opponent's top line and not get rolled over.
Very good, Chad. Well, great work. Love the Quinn article. Really informative for anybody trying to maybe having taken like a decade off from the Sabres at the trade deadline, trying to dig in a little bit to it. Highly recommend it. Thank you for your time today.
All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yes. Chad DeDominis, expectedbuffalo.com. That's me. I'm not, you know, being critical. That's definitely me.
Back in, you mean? Yeah, right.
Back in. Let's hear about this Freddie. Let's hear about these guys we're talking about.
Teddy Bluger.
Teddy, Freddie.
Freddie.
I'm ready for Teddy or Freddie at this point. Bring it on. I wonder how much the Sabres will be willing to do, and that you can only know from what they're able to do. Like, what kind of shakeup, if that's not too strong, do they want to pull off? They're not really a team in need of a shakeup, although they didn't really end that well after all the success they had prior to about a week before the Olympic break. 803-0550 for your calls. Tyreek Hill, released by Miami, had us talking about, well, what do you know, the Bills and their wide receiver plans this year. We will be back after sports. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go! All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. Oh, you seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster. Oh, roller coaster.
The Miami Dolphins may be looking to 2027 as they released 4 players today, and those do include wide receiver Tyreek Hill and edge rusher Bradley Chubb. The other 2 are fellow wide receiver Nick Westbrook-Ikhine and then offensive guard James Daniels. These moves do have a dead cap hit of $56 million, but it is expected to clear this year $66.9 million. Over to the Olympics, the U.S. women's domination in hockey continues. They handled Sweden 5-0 earlier this morning. They now will play for the gold medal against either Switzerland or Canada, and that game is currently going on right now. Canada is up on the Swiss 2-0 in the second period, and the gold medal game will be on Thursday at 1. While on the men's side of things, the U.S., they're going to play either Sweden or Latvia in the quarterfinals on Wednesday. Sweden and Latvia will play tomorrow just after 3 p.m. And your current medal count? Norway very clearly in front with 27, Italy in second with 22, and then the United States behind them in third with 17. Norway also has the most gold medals won so far this year with 12. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
The tough situation makes it tricky, for sure. And I wrote about this, I think, last week, is I'm in the category, if you want to keep him and, be a rental and whatever and deal with it in the summer, that's fine, great, wonderful, whatever. I get where you are as a team that you want to do that. The consequences of that, which I think they recognize, and I think people need to understand, is what that likely means is they're not going to go out and pay an expensive price for a rental, because you can't have that rental go, then you can't have Tuck also go, and you paid, a first-round pick or your prime prospect assets, because then you go into the summer and, now you're dealing with a shortened cupboard, if you will, to trade with, and you have two guys who just walk out the door on you.
Chad DeDominis expected Buffalo with us just a short while ago. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. So what do we say? The deadline is March 6th? That sound right?
Yeah.
You'd believe it?
Yep. I'd believe it.
Less than 3 weeks? Or maybe exactly 3 weeks. I don't know. Something in there.
It does come quick, like he said. They get back. Their first game is a week from Wednesday, right? The Sabres, the 25th of February.
At Jersey.
So, yeah, that's less than 10 days.
What do you think they're going to be thinking about what they have and what they'll want to do?
I think that there should be some, I guess we can spend as much time as we like from now until the deadline arguing what the appropriate amount of urgency should be, but there should be some organizational urgency. Not to treat this like, we got to do everything we can do because we're going to go try to win the cup or something. But let's just make sure you insulate yourself enough that you don't cough up this 5-point lead you went into the break with. Let's make sure you don't have to settle for barely winning half of your remaining games and hoping that it all breaks your way, right? I don't expect them to win 20 of these 25 games that they've got left either. But, winning 14 of them might be nice, and like we were talking with Chad last segment, I think it's a really cool story that they've got these 4 defensemen that they're leaning on and have been so good for them. But I don't think you want to try to run that right to the end of the season, leaning on them so hard and then expect a first-round matchup with Tampa or Carolina and them not to show fatigue. Like, the adrenaline of getting to the playoffs is only going to get those guys so far if they're just worn out.
My number one guy's playing some hard minutes right now.
Exactly, right. So I think you really got to find a way to make that work. The last time we talked to Paul, or one of the most recent times we talked to Paul, he suggested, just kind of punt Kesselring for the year. Find someone that can do what he was supposed to be able to do for you. And if he finds his form, health-wise, play style-wise, and you've already added someone to replace him, great. You can, somebody, everybody's injuries, whatever, you can always use another guy. But I don't want to count on him right now. Because that's a bet that they've made all year that so far has come up snake eyes. It just has not happened for him. I also don't want to say forget it on him for the rest of his contract, the rest of his time here. But for this year, I need a version of him that is the idealized version of what we thought they were trading for in the summer when they made the deal. And it just has not come to fruition. So, that is a certain level of player that shouldn't be that hard to find. If you can trust your scouting and see what kind of role you're really looking for, because I don't need someone to come in and take over. I've got 4 dudes right now who are they're killing it. I just need to take a little bit off of their plates, each of them, and one more guy that I can really count on would do that for me. They've managed to get this far without any real contribution from Kesselring. They got pockets of good play from Bryson and Metza on that pair, but I don't know if that ship has sailed. I just need another guy. And I don't like Timmins as an idea either, because that's some version of Kesselring. He's coming back from a severe leg injury, and even if he's skating and healthy, what am I going to have by the time April rolls around there? So go find that guy. I would say the urgency for that move, for me, is much higher than finding someone to supplant Jack Quinn. I don't think that's a perfect situation up front, but I think I can live with it. I think the thing that I need to protect is counting on those top 4 when the playoffs get here and leaning into them so hard between now and the playoffs, I think could really be a problem for them. So if you can't find your way to a 28-year-old, more well-rounded version of Jack Quinn, so be it. Right? I happen to agree with what Chad said. I think it makes a lot of sense that if you're going to hang on to Tuck, which I also advise doing one way or the other, you cannot remove him from this team right now. Mm-hmm. So if I got to push that off into the summer and there's always going to be a risk that then he leaves me for nothing, I don't think I'm trading assets for someone who is also going to do that. So if I can find a forward that's under contract that fits, okay, I can make a hockey trade there. But that might be harder to do than just finding this defenseman I'm talking about. And I might not even be that worried if the defenseman is under contract or not for next year. Like I could rent a third pair defenseman knowing I've got Timmins and Kesselring coming back next year, and it's not that big a deal to me. But up front, I cannot, and I don't know that Chad differentiated between rentals up front or on the back end. I could live with losing a defenseman for nothing in the summer if it's a third pair guy, and I'm just renting him to get through the season and hopefully help me in the playoffs. But up front, I don't want to do that if I'm going to bank on Tuck staying here without a contract extension. So the urgency to me is the blue line because, I mean, I've been saying it with a purpose. I think it is the thing that is driving this whole wagon right now. Our power, Byram, Samuelson, and Dahlin, and protecting their endurance, if you will, is chiefly what I want to do between now and the deadline.
You might also get Kulik back.
I mean, that would be really nice.
And I think Hellenius could be live, too. I don't know. Like, he came on strong and then a couple of missteps, and he was kind of back in the background. But, yeah, like, they're young. I mean, what's Kulik, 21? And Hellenius is younger than that.
Yeah.
Like, they're young, but I think could still help you. And, look, the Sabres have a few different considerations, just sort of from a macro viewpoint. They're close. Like, it's not even for me a matter of differentiating between making the playoffs and making a run, because I think they're close enough to the same thing this year. So, like, they're in a spot and they're close. They're also very young, so you want to be careful with what you do, not just to disrupt a roster like that, but who you give up in a trade, because those kinds of trades, and I don't see the Sabres doing this, but those are the ones that like kind of stink forever, where you're trading a prospect for somebody older and then you go out in 6 and he scores 1 goal or something and you've lost this other piece forever. And I especially like that the GM is new in the chair, because I don't know that he has to care about the playoff drought. I think anybody would know about it. The players know about it. Any executive in the league would know about it. Everybody knows about it. But it really shouldn't be a dictating factor in what they do. And I'm sure there are people going, well, why not? I mean, we haven't had the playoffs in forever, and that's what this is all about. I just don't expect, like, even a very significant move, whatever that would be, to change their chances by that much. Like, I think Chad was making a point a few different times about the playoff matchups and, winning then. And I like that. I like that more than any sort of like, well, how do I get in? What can I do in the next 3 weeks that helps my odds of getting in? Because I don't think that could really ever be that much, unless you're trading for the best goalie in the league or something like that. And that's not really on the table for the Sabres. So as far as I know. So I like that, this doesn't have to be right, but if it weren't a new GM, if it were still Kevin Adams, he might be more in tune with how long it's been since they've been good. And I think you get the job mid-season this year, you know about it, but you don't really want to think about it or have to care about it when it comes to your moves. They're in a pretty good place. Everything that's happened having already happened. They're in a pretty good place for depth, talent, and their standings position.
Yeah, that's why I don't think they need this. This might sound insane, thinking if someone had said this predicted you were going to say this about this team in February, back in July or September. I don't think they need like a whale. Panarin was a cool idea. It's an incredible player. I don't need that. I trust that they have enough to get in. So I'm more about protecting what has helped me build this little cushion I've got and making sure I'm not asking too much of the guys that helped me build it from here to the end. And then, then it's about, like, if those 4 guys are healthy and not overly fatigued from having to lean too hard into getting them in the playoffs in the first place, and my goaltending is stable, I'm ready to go play in the playoffs. You know, just get me this one more defenseman that can take the load off of some of those guys. And I think, knock on wood, everybody stays healthy, reasonably so. I mean, they're going to be an underdog against some first-place team if that's where they end up. If they end up in a wild card spot, if they end up the 2 or the 3 in the division, like, who knows? That right now is Detroit and Montreal. I'm not going into that thinking I'm a big underdog. I think against Tampa or Carolina, I sure as hell am.
A lot can change, though.
Right, but even that said, that doesn't make me feel like I got to go get, like, who your name here, whatever the biggest name veteran guy is. I don't really think that's called for. So I'm not that worried about them selling futures because I don't think they really have to.
Tyler Myers.
There's worse ideas.
I agree. I'm just going to go there.
Yeah.
Is that a bad team?
He's definitely on a bad team.
He's like mid-30s.
That could work.
He knows the area.
Right.
He knows the fastest way to get from where we sit in Amherst to your house.
I knew where his house was, in fact.
Did you?
I think Ryan O'Reilly bought it from him.
Oh, let's get that guy, too.
Right.
Then they can fight over where they're going to live. Who owns the house now? Metza? I mean, let's have some fun. 803-0550 for your calls. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. Time to assemble the Sports Uniform Consortium.
Mm-hmm.
The Tennessee Titans. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I can tell by your face. You're going to object to it because it's too much Houston Oilers, right? That's the problem?
100%.
I love it. They were so bad in this area.
I like the colors. That logo, they still have like a Legend of Zelda, 1990 Nintendo vibe.
Really?
Yeah, that T on the helmet just looks like a cartoon. I don't know. I think it's lousy.
Okay. But we got rid of the flames.
Yeah.
That was good.
And the colors I'm conflicted about the colors because I love that color scheme, but yeah, it's the Houston Oilers color scheme. So
what's wrong with that?
That is the franchise. I don't know. Houston has a team, maybe nothing.
But plus, they've been gone 30 years.
Yeah. I just don't like when they've worn it. Like they took a team from Houston, moved to Tennessee, and then started wearing their gear. Now they're going to make it permanent?
Houston has its own team, though.
I know. And their uniforms are awful. A lot of the time, Houston has got...
Oh, how great would it have been if the Texans had switched to this,
now
last
we're talking.
week?
Now we're talking. Yeah. They have more right to it than the Tennessee Titans do, I think. I don't know. I
like it.
I'm against
You're hung up on
I'm against it.
The principle of it, which respectfully I would say I'm not sure so much applies anymore. Like, this isn't the Avalanche dressing up as the Nordiques, is it? Or is it basically that? Only permanently.
Yeah, that's what it's I think exactly what it is. And I think that's offensive. And I don't like the way the logo looks.
The logo is a circle.
With the T.
With pretty much the same Tennessee Titans T that's weird. And then there are 3 stars around it.
Yeah.
So that's the same. The colors are different. But they've gone, is it not exactly maybe, but they've gone to the Houston Oilers light blue, which I am for.
And the red is the same.
And the red.
The whole thing is it's the Houston Oilers colors. Yeah, no, it just does not land on me
and
the way
I
would like.
The quarterback last year when he was drafted got Warren Moon to unretire his number. He got Moon's permission so Ward could wear number 1. And so, he's going to look like Warren Moon back there.
I guess that's right.
Which, that guy's in the Hall of Fame.
Great player. Sure.
Yes. Would you like Tennessee to be the Bills' Week 1 opponent? Well, there's a problem. They don't play.
Well, then that takes care of that then.
They don't play.
Until the playoffs.
But before you ask, I am on a Bills on the road Week 1, open the stadium Week 2.
Okay.
That's my latest.
Yeah.
That
came up last week.
Well, I'm not saying I'm the only person who
I know. In here, I think maybe even Sal said with new stadiums, they've liked to go. Week 1 is Week 1. You get more of a spotlight on the stadium. And the Bills played in a game like this in Atlanta when their stadium opened? I think.
Yes, that was the first home game.
I believe that's right. Regular season. Anyway.
Or did they have a night game before that?
Played. No, I think it was the first regular season game in the stadium. I think that's the comparison. I believe.
Not sure, but sure. The Bills will have maybe 2 preseason games though in there first.
Right.
It's not like they'll have never played there. I don't know. Maybe the stadium will have something to do with it. Either way, I guess this is why the stadium is why I like prime time in Week 2. It could be Week 1. They've been so good. It's a great schedule again. You could put New England in there. You could put even Kansas City in there. I know Mahomes is hurt. Baltimore, you could do a few different things. But go on the road. Go have a nice little Week 1 in Minnesota, Bills. And then open the stadium up in style at night in Week 2 with whoever. That's my vote. 803-0550. Women's hockey, U.S. over Sweden, 5-0 today. The third period is underway between Canada and the Swiss. It is 2-0 Canada And the Canadians lead in shots on goal 38-6. I guess it's still 2 teams in the women's tournament.
Yes,
pretty
very
much
so. Yeah.
Pretty much. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. We'll be back after the update. This is WGR.
today by the Miami Dolphins as big changes seem to be on the horizon for them. Wide receivers Tyreek Hill and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, along with edge rusher Bradley Chubb and guard James Daniels. And these moves do have a dead cap hit of $56 million, but they are expected to also clear $66.9 million this season. The other news in the NFL, the Browns, they have found their defensive coordinator in Mike Ruttenberg. Ruttenberg did spend last season in Atlanta as the team's defensive pass game coordinator. While in the Olympics, the U.S. women, their domination in hockey continues. They handled Sweden 5-0 earlier this morning. They will now play for gold against either Switzerland or Canada. And currently that game right now, Canada's up on the Swiss 2-1 in the third. The gold medal game, though, will be on Thursday at 1 p.m. While on the men's side of things, the U.S., they're either going to play Sweden or Latvia in the quarterfinals on Wednesday. Sweden and Latvia play tomorrow just after 3 p.m. And then your medal count does see Norway very clearly in front at 27, Italy in second with 22, and the United States in third with 17. Norway also has the most gold medals with 12. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp.
Last night at 12:30 in the morning, I ate a can of mushrooms. I did. Pieces and stems, if you're wondering. As opposed to buttons. It was pieces and stems, which will be my next year's fantasy football team name.
Pieces and stems.
Pieces and stems.
And the Bulldog.
I should be ashamed to admit this publicly, but whatever. How long have we been doing this? I'm a junkie. I can't be trusted.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Welcome back. Tyreek Hill to be a free agent. You know, I'll just throw this out. I'm not going to try to change your mind on Tyreek Hill. You're not movable. I'm not even sure I disagree. I mean, his age and the injury, I don't need to take every chance, you know?
Right.
You don't want him. I think he probably goes to the Chiefs. And you have to decide whether that bothers you, I guess, or whether you care.
I think if you're willing to, like I said, there's almost really two conversations about him. You know, the off the field, the way his reputation for how he treats his life partner, mother of his children. Put that over there. It's football. Okay. Can he help me? I might say go to Kansas City. At his age, the injuries, I don't know. I'm not assuming he's just going to be Tyreek Hill anymore. So that's a part of it too. Like, and look, I know guys come back all the time, but he is on the wrong side of 30, and speed is mainly his thing. Like that's why he's made $30 million a year in the league and went for 1,700 yards in back-to-back seasons with Miami. Is his speed. And I'm just not assuming I'm going to get that at the highest level anymore. You might even wonder about that at 32 years of age without the injury. But the injury sort of compounds it. So, I don't know, there's a compelling enough case to not do it if he were healthy, I think. But then you factor in the injury, I would just be kind of worried about it. So I know, part of my problem with the trade in the draft, really, both times. I mean, it turned out the Bills got Josh Allen out of it. The first time when they traded with Kansas City back in 2017 and they got Mahomes, and the Bills got Tre'Davious White and then ended up getting Allen the next year. And then, of course, in 2024, they trade with Kansas City. They take Worthy. The Bills trade back again and end up with Keon Coleman. And the fact that it was Kansas City really bothered me. Like, if they want the guy, they're going to be right? They're Kansas City. I don't feel that way about Tyreek Hill anymore. Like, I might be inclined, you want Tyreek Hill back? Go ahead and get Tyreek Hill back.
It's definitely not a factor in your analysis.
No,
but sometimes it is. Like, Worthy, it was.
Yeah, right. Don't let them. They've been trying to replace Tyreek Hill since he left, and you just laid it out for them to do it. So why am I helping you? And I also thought that Tyreek Hill was a player that could, or not Tyreek Hill, Xavier Worthy. that style player was a player that the Bills could use. I've been clamoring for more speed at receiver for the entirety of Allen's career, it feels like. So there was a lot there, and it's not just because Kansas City was down last year and Mahomes is coming off an injury. I'm not sure I'm ready to buy Tyreek Hill is still a difference-making player in the league.
Are the Bills going to pay Rashid Shaheed $18 million a year for 3 years to check that box? Are they going to do that? Like north of Josh Palmer?
I don't.
There's not a lot to pick from.
Yeah. I predict they don't sign a big name in free agency.
Is that a big name even?
No, but it's a big ticket. I mean, well, for them it's big. $18 million is what? It's about halfway to the top of the salary structure at receiver at this point, isn't it? So
is someone going to do that?
Probably. And they'll talk about how the value is added because he takes care of returns for you.
Oh, yeah.
And like that's a roster spot, and like don't underestimate the value of that and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. I would predict that they don't sign anyone, a big name, a big ticket in free agency at receiver. I think scratch and dent, prove it type things, maybe, sure, fine. I think a trade and a draft pick is where you want to live.
What kind of trade?
Brian Thomas Jr., Jalen Waddle.
And that's a first-round pick.
Sure.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I think in both cases, yes. If I can push it off to next year, like Bean supposedly wanted to do during the season, it was reportedly why the Waddle trade didn't end up getting consummated. So I think that's a more likely scenario, and I think to an extent, I mean, you're going to be paying Waddle has a contract, so you're bringing that in, but you're also not overpaying on the current market. You're signing him, or you're bringing him in a trade with a contract that was signed, a year and a half or 2 years ago. I think that's easier to swallow, and because I just think you're going to overpay in free agency. If Rashid Shaheed is going to cost that much money, I don't think I want to do it.
I'm pretty sure there isn't anybody on that list who I'm going to want to pay what they would cost. But I got to do something, right? My old favorite line in fantasy, you don't have to do this, but you got to do something.
Right.
Do the Bills have to do something? What do you think? So we're just getting into the offseason here. 7 months, almost to the day. What do you think the fan sentiment is going to be, or is right now, on Coleman? Like, we had Pagula's whatever with Coleman, which was, embarrassing, right? Like, why even say it? If I'm the GM, I don't appreciate it. If I'm the player, I'm, irate. If I'm on the team, it's just like seems so amateur.
There's just no reason to inflict damage on your organization unprompted, which is what he did.
What you think it's accomplishing, it is not accomplishing.
No.
So there's that. Then you had, I'm not sure if it was a backpedal per se, but then you had Bean that same day and then Joe Brady talk up Coleman, especially Brady.
Yep.
Like, he's going to be here.
Best thing that's ever happened to him is me becoming his head coach.
I don't want to assume he can't be a contributor, but I kind of feel like he's one where there will be two kinds of people. The kind that will be like, come on, are you serious? And I bet that's most analysts. Mm-hmm. We talked to Matt Harmon before the Super Bowl, and he was like, yeah, I don't think so. He wasn't a fan of Coleman's going into the draft 2 years ago, and it's like he has to play in the slot, and he doesn't. So there's that element. That can change. I don't know that it will, but that could change. So I think there'll be a lot of negativity toward Coleman. In fact, Bulldog, by the way, if I may indulge myself quickly, on ADP Chasing the season debut last Tuesday, we have a game again this year where you have to build a roster of players who go outside of the top 200. I invented this game on that show, but I was not prepared to play it last week. So I was up. I'm like, Coleman? And they're like, oh, yeah, he does not get drafted at all.
Right.
So that was safe, but I'm not sure it was a good pick. There'll be a lot of come on with him. But there will also be the group of fans who will tell you that he's young, and they'll sound like maybe the Bills will sound as the season comes closer, which is not to say they won't be right. I just wonder what kind of appetite you or I should have for, like, Coleman can actually matter. He's still 2 years in, and it's been challenging, not just because of his limitations, and some of that is self-inflicted off the field, and that can go away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a new coach anyway. So that doesn't have to be a problem anymore. And you've also had a team that's had a lot of success playing a certain way that doesn't really have a wide receiver one. You know, not to say that he would have been, but he's not somebody who's been in a position where, wow, why aren't there 90 catches? That was never going to happen, even if he could get open and went to meetings.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wonder what he's going to mean to our conversations this summer.
I am.
He's not irrelevant, right?
No. He definitely is not going to be irrelevant conversationally because of everything you just laid out. I mean, so we'll probably spend an inordinate amount of time talking about someone who may barely matter, if he matters at all, to their outcome in 2026. I mostly... Anything can happen. He is young. There is a skill set there. You know, could they find their way to making that work? I suppose. Could he have been humbled enough to really dig in and, you know, show up on time and be like a good teammate, be someone that the organization feels like they can trust and count on? Like, yeah, all of those things can happen. They're not completely unforeseeable. But I mostly am going to be at, if I can make a trade for, this is Bill Barnwell's idea today. One trade I think that makes sense for every team, I think, is what he did today. And his one trade for the Bills was a first-round pick in Coleman to Jacksonville for Brian Thomas Jr. and like a fifth or something, I think is what the trade was. I'm way more inclined, even if it means throwing him away as a sweetener in a trade like that, to say, if he can accomplish all the things he needs to accomplish to help a team, let him go do it somewhere else. I'm trying to win the Super Bowl over here. I just fired a coach who presided over one of the most successful, the only other successful decade, basically, in the existence of the franchise. I fired that guy, and I brought in, kept this coordinator, and the train has got to keep going. And if you ain't on it, you're going to reach out to grab the railing on the door of the passenger car, and it's going to rip your arm off. The train is moving, Keon Coleman. So
not the wide receiver train.
I don't know. I don't have time to wait to see if you... I think, and this is how I want them to approach it, I don't know that they will. Brady talking the way he talked about him definitely seemed above and beyond the usual, we're trying to protect the value of the asset type thing, right? But I don't have time for a second-year guy who couldn't show up to meetings on time. I don't have time to devote a third year to see if he can do it. If he ends up here, there better be enough traffic in front of him that he has to fight his way through. And if he does, great. I just can't count on it. So if he's here, I need to have insulated my receiver room to the point where when he ends up not mattering, if that's the outcome, it doesn't matter to the overall. Because I did enough other stuff to supplement what I've got here. And anything I get from him is a bonus, which to me makes him utterly expendable in every way.
I mean, does the quote from Brady then carry no weight? Or it'll just be one that, circumstances change. Keon Coleman is going to be a Buffalo Bill. The best thing that happened to Keon Coleman was me being hired as head coach. Well, then he's traded? That wouldn't be unprecedented.
Right.
But it seemed pretty definitive.
It does.
If Brady meant that, see, I've said this before about him. He's frustrating to me as a listener, Brady, because I think he kind of says everything. And when you're like that, there are times when you're going to go too far, or pretty far, if not too far, to make your point, to try to get, whatever is coming, whether it's backlash or whatever the criticism is, going the other direction. So you can overdo it. I think he can tend to overdo it. But if he's gonna say the best thing to happen to Coleman was me, he's not going to Jacksonville. Like, to me, that's one where unless I can be gullible, unless Brady he's new at this and he's not before ever had his quotes really scrutinized. This point I make about him at press conferences has never been a conversation I've had with anyone else. It's just sort of a throwaway line in our conversations or talking to Sal or something. Never has anybody called in to talk about what he said. I think. Like, it's just sort of in one ear, out the other. So now he's the head coach, and his quotes will not be dismissed. And when he says he's going to be a Bill, he probably should mean that, or simply he should just be, not disingenuous,
not go as hard
about what his intentions are.
Yeah.
Basically this is Brady saying, I love him, which is not the quote.
Right.
But this is going to be great for him. And if you have a wide receiver on a team that lacks talent at wide receiver, you think your promotion is great for, well, you don't get him off the roster. That's what you don't do. Really, this is what the conversation is already and is going to be is only partly about Coleman. It's going to be about, here's again, two kinds of people. It's going to be about whether Joe Brady, when Sean McDermott was here, could run the offense he wanted to. And, there already are people who are telling you that he couldn't, right? I mean, that's maybe the spin that we should expect. It might also be true, but I've always been bracing for that since this happened, that this is going to be actually, they couldn't do A, B, and C because he wasn't the head coach. And I'll give that point this much leeway. My logic on them has been Brady goes into the OC chair because McDermott his vision wasn't being reached in terms of their offensive style with Dorsey. He wasn't getting more of a physical, you and I have debated this for years now, but I think McDermott wanted the Bills to be more like the team they were after Dorsey, and I don't think that's accidental. I think that, you put the person in the position that's going to execute it the way you want it. That's what you should do as a head coach. And what you got was the league leader in rushing and the touchdown record in rushing the year before from Cook, not a coincidence. Now, McDermott is out of the picture, and we'll see, and we don't know this yet, I suppose. It also depends on who your players are, whether Brady wants to take them a little bit in a different direction. And I guess that's really left to us to guess at.
Yeah. Well,
unless
I do feel like, we end up here, I don't know, a lot, but frequently enough, where did the thing the guy said, right? Like Brandon Beane about receivers, and then he's, defiant, and then it gets to be, even the year before, everybody eats, but, we're going to trade for Amari Cooper because actually we need a guy. It turns out that we need a guy. And they did that again this year. So, the words are only worth so much to me. And in a scenario where you trade Keon Coleman in a package for Brian Thomas Jr., like Bill Barnwell suggests, or anyone else that's equal to that or greater than that of a player, an idea, then we probably talk about what Joe Brady said for 10 minutes. And then it's just on to hey, they got this receiver. And so much for Keon Coleman and it being the best thing that ever happened to him. Because it still is just words as strongly as it was worded. And I do think it is worth pointing out how strongly it was worded. Because, again, it is above and beyond the standard, he's going to be here. We're counting on him. He's young. It was more than that. But to me, it doesn't mean you can't hit reverse and listen to the backup noise and get out of it. But all that said, if Joe Brady is right and he is going to be here, my point simply is you cannot count on Keon Coleman. If he's here because you don't think you can live with giving him away, considering where you drafted him, and you want to try to see it through, okay, but you better find your way to someone who outranks him by double. he better, and if he can play his way through that, right, the draft pick and the guy you acquire, whether trade or free agency, I favor trade. I think free agency is pretty dry, but we'll see. If Coleman can navigate that and still end up playing meaningful snaps for you because he discovered how to set an alarm and they figured out how to use him maybe a little bit better to play to his strengths, fine. But you cannot tell me I'm going into training camp and he's on the field to start the first set of drills.
A starter on the depth chart?
Yeah, he better be behind some people.
Do you have an alarm, by the way, set in the morning most days?
No,
Ever?
almost never. Not only in golf season.
Right, golf, you have to have it.
But no.
My alarm is my wife's alarm, which I almost never respond to.
Right.
I just hear it.
Right.
Yeah, I have to give her that.
It works.
I can't have her like, can you, honey, I'm trying to sleep over here. Oh, you're getting up for work and to take the dog out? Like, that's fine, but really, it's a two-way street.
Yeah, no, I don't. No, I don't. No, I haven't needed an alarm in a long time. Because even when I had responsibilities in the morning, other people getting up, the kids being up and around would wake me up. Like, oh, they're up. It must be time to get up and take them to school or help them get to school.
Can I count on this adding years to my life? Like, I do things that maybe take years off of my life, that shorten it.
Sleeping in without an alarm, you mean?
Like every day almost. Not having to get up before my REM has run its course fully. Can I count on that to help be good for me?
It really depends on the quality of sleep you're getting.
I mean, I don't know if it's good quality. I'm asleep.
Yeah.
I'm not awake to tell you if it's good quality.
Yeah.
I'm not waking up all night, so it's good enough quality. Like I am actually asleep.
I know most of the time I'm not getting quality sleep.
Really?
I'm up. It's like 3 hours and I'm up.
Really? Always?
Yeah,
Almost always?
Almost always. Yeah. It's very rare that I sleep consecutively for like more than 3 hours, honestly.
Canada beats Switzerland in women's hockey 2-1. I think the shots ended 46-8. Canada got a late power play and basically was able to pass it around for the last couple minutes and close out the win.
Nice for them.
USA, Canada, this is Thursday at 1, I think.
Okay.
For the gold. And what, the men play tomorrow?
Some of the men play tomorrow.
Right. U.S. doesn't play tomorrow because they have to find out who they have to play first.
Right, yeah. And so Sweden is playing Latvia, and the winner of that game. That is what was really at stake on the weekend. Goal differential. It was, if you assumed, who knows, Germany could have pulled an upset. But if you assume that both the U.S. and Canada were going to win their games, Canada going 10-2 or whatever they did yesterday was tough to overcome.
110 on USA Network confirmed USA versus Canada as predicted for the gold medal in women's hockey. What do you think? Keon Coleman, Tyreek Hill. Ideas. No bad ideas. 803-0550 for your calls. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Back after the update. This is WGR.
The U.S. women have their opponent in the gold medal game on Thursday, and it will be Canada, who just wrapped up their game against Switzerland, taking them down 2-1. The U.S. earlier today beat Sweden by a score of 5-0. And again, the gold medal game will be Thursday at 1. And these teams have already played each other earlier in the tournament during the prelims. The United States beat Canada 5-0. On the men's side of things, the United States will be playing either Sweden or Latvia in the quarterfinals. That's on Wednesday, but Sweden and Latvia are going to play tomorrow just after 3 p.m. And the current medal count does see Norway clearly in front with 28, Italy in second with 23, and the United States in third with 19 medals. Norway, though, has the most golds with 12. And then the big news in the NFL today, the Miami Dolphins look to be preparing for 2027 as they released 4 players today. Wide receivers Tyreek Hill and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, and then along with them, edge rusher Bradley Chubb and guard James Daniels. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
And as far as I'm concerned, he should be targeting going back to Kansas City. But if there is a way for him to get back to playing with a quarterback the likes of Patrick Mahomes, he should do it. It should be 1 of 3. It should be Kansas City, Buffalo, or Baltimore.
R&D went to work there. Stephen A. Smith predicting Tyreek Hill's next team. There is some betting graphic on Twitter today where the Chiefs are like heavy favorite. Filipponi had it because the Steelers were second. I don't know.
I'm not going to worry about it.
No, you're not. That's right.
I could be wrong, but I'm gonna choose. I'm gonna not worry about it.
Are you just not going to worry about the Chiefs? Period. Or question mark?
I don't know that I would say. I don't think I would go that far. No, but Tyreek Hill haunting me. I feel like we hang on to things sometimes for too long, and I feel like that would be a thing you're hanging on to for too long. I don't think coming off an injury at his age, I'm going to be, oh no, Tyreek Hill is on the Chiefs. They could still be good, but I don't know. I doubt he's a big reason why. If he ends
Somebody out there is thinking it. They'll be here in week 6. And through the first 5 games, he had 14 catches for 89 yards. And then in week 6, bam, 5 for 175 and 3. That's probably three's high.
Maybe a little.
1,
yeah,
even. Oh yeah, he's back. He had a couple of monster games, even for Miami. No, how well did he do for Miami against the Bills?
Not well at all. The stats against McDermott once he left Kansas City were pretty modest for him.
Okay. Here's Joe with us. Hi, Joe.
Hey, thanks for taking the call.
Sure thing.
I just when the Brady comments, the jury's still out on him, and I wasn't thrilled either. But I think it was great what he said about Coleman, because the comment shows the other teams that even if we don't keep him, it increases his trade value because he loves the guy and he thinks he's got potential. So I think what he said was actually really smart, whether we keep him or not.
Well, okay. I mean, I understand this point. Thanks, Joe. It's simply a matter of whether you think you would care if you were a general manager of one of the other teams, what Joe Brady said about him. I think of it more that this is, of course, what he would say about him, because he's not going to, like, what if he said the opposite? I mean, Terry Pagula didn't even say the opposite.
No.
He just wanted to defend Brandon Beane on why he was here, Coleman. He didn't say, like, he's terrible. So Brady was never going to say anything too harsh, but I think most people would just ignore it around the league and not.
Yeah.
Wow, the Bills really like him, so we should too.
Yeah.
Is it really that?
His value is. I mean, I think it's sweetener in a trade is really what it is. Like here, okay. The Barnwell example with Brian, not to just fixate on this one thing. I was listening to GR today. The Bulldog wouldn't stop talking about Brian Thomas Jr. It's just one example, okay?
What else is new?
Right. And if you've got a team that wants to offload someone that young, like Brian Thomas Jr. is that same draft. It's what like 10 picks earlier, 15 picks earlier, whatever it was. Smashing rookie season, not a very good second season. I wonder how much they're announced. I don't know if they have announced this, but it's been widely reported here that Travis Hunter, a part of the reason why you might think Brian Thomas Jr. is expendable, is
going to play
full-time
defense.
Corner, part-time receiver. But really, Jacoby Myers is maybe the central piece to this, right? You've got this guy that you acquired, you paid already, you got him as a rental, and then decided you liked it enough to keep going. So if they think he's expendable, but we need another guy, okay, we'll throw you this guy. We'll throw you Keon Coleman, and maybe you can work it out with him, or maybe in 2 years he's out of the league.
Well, you know what? To the caller's point, in fairness, somebody go find out what Jacksonville has said about Brian Thomas. Because maybe they're saying things that are tougher to, or easier to believe, I guess it would be.
Ultimately, in the end, I guess I haven't said it this strongly. I don't as curious as it was that Brady went as far as he went in praising Coleman to an extent, like believing in him. He's the best thing that's ever happened to him is me becoming his head coach. The words do not matter. If you find the right trade and they want this player as a piece to help you get that thing across the finish line, you don't refuse to do it because your coach said that. You're just going to do it. You're going to make your team better, and that's it. And all Joe Brady has to say is pretty much that in some version after they make this hypothetical trade. So to the caller's point, I don't think it really enhances Coleman's value. I don't think it makes him immovable because Brady sounds like they want to be married to him. It's just words in February or January or whenever he said it, and it doesn't have to mean ultimately anything.
I know, but isn't life more interesting?
It is,
does
sure,
mean
yeah. I'm here. I mean, I'm invested in this conversation, but
well, thank God I'm here.
I can still do whatever I want
because
with this player.
You don't want to even consider that it's sticky.
No, and I definitely don't.
I do. I just want to consider it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, if my team is run by somebody who would react to other coaches' quotes, I'm in trouble.
Yeah,
that should be a problem, I think. But I understand the logic of it. Well, can I use my 9 cents on this in some way?
on whether the Bills have Keon Coleman on their team?
Yeah, anything. Can I bet? What can I bet 9 cents on? I'm down to 9 cents on one of these. Until the curling's over, then maybe I'll hit a couple.
Well,
I have USA men. I have Italy men.
In curling, we're talking.
In curling to medal, both to medal. I'm going to lose on Italy women. They've won today. They beat US today, but they're not going to make the medal round. And I had China men. That's not going to happen. The China men are not getting a medal. I just went for long shots. You know me.
Yeah, of course.
Might get a couple of. I might even just be happy with one of those. USA men are pretty good, and women. It's been a good story. I don't know if you're following it. The men's and women's curling teams. Is it not?
Define following.
I will. I am a junkie for this sport. I watch sub-level streams of provincial playdowns in Canada where there are like no announcers, but there's a camera. It's like my daughter's games in St. Catharines are a higher quality.
The feed, yeah.
Than this.
Yeah.
Live Barn is a higher quality than some of these. I watch them anyway.
That is tough.
So I'm not the person to ask, but you might be because you are not this person. You are not somebody who is watching the Saskatchewan quarterfinals under 18.
At least as far as you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been assuming.
Yeah.
Is the curling are the results, Team USA's success, the whole thing, the controversy, we haven't even gotten to that yet. Is it resonating? Is it something where you go to your bar on Saturday afternoons, are people talking about it? Is it on? Just the Olympic tournament, I mean.
It probably,
not Saskatchewan.
We did pop in briefly for one drink at my usual place. I had other plans with my wife. And so I didn't happen to notice what was on, but I'm sure it's been on. It's on every time I turn on the TV.
It is kind of always on.
There's curling on.
As an option.
For me, this is not exactly it, but I'm going to watch the Olympics. I try to find events that I enjoy, and I enjoy most of the. Once you are at a point where you like the skiing and the shooting combined into one event, you like pretty much everything in the winter. Short track speed skating can get bent. I don't need any of that. There's other stuff I don't really like. A lot of the somersault, cartwheel skiing stuff looks the same to me, whether they're on skis or snowboards. So that,
You're saying you like all the sports except the exciting ones?
I guess maybe to an extent that's a way you could take what I'm saying.
I'm the same way. I'm totally the same as
they
that.
just don't really do it for me. But I'm going to watch A, enjoyment, not really rooting interest. B, is there anything here useful for me for the show?
Yeah.
So the curling,
I've got it covered.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm not going to bring anything to the table that you haven't seen because you're watching every second of it, and maybe even some of it twice. So curling, I don't need to sit with it. If I enjoyed it more, and I do like it when I watch it, but I'm just always looking for something else.
So when you say you and your wife had other plans, that was to watch the monobob instead.
How did you get to monobob before me? Yesterday was the very first time I ever realized that there was monobob.
Monobob.
I had never heard of monobob before.
It's just like it's one-man bobsled?
Right, yeah.
And that's new? Or is the name new?
It's been a few Olympics, I learned yesterday.
Monobob.
So it is relatively new. I sort of defended myself yesterday with it's only been this is maybe the second time for the women and maybe the third or fourth for the men.
Isn't your son's car named Monobob?
I'm
Bob. Close, right?
There's a Bob.
I'm close.
There's a Bob involved there. Yeah.
Listen, here's what happened in the curling. It was a big deal. Canada and Sweden.
Oh, this is
the double touch.
To the controversy here? Yeah.
Yes, the double touch. And then Swiss accused Canada of doing that again the next game.
Okay.
But it did not escalate. And then the Canadian women's team, Rachel Homan, it was Homan herself who had her rock removed because after what happened with the men, they went and put officials into line positions to look for it.
Wow.
And they busted her. She lost 8-7. And this was in the first end, but she went on to lose 8-7 and was irate. I mean, It's like this, I think, if I may be allowed to sort of speak on it.
I heard the morning show talking about this, and one of the people related to us, either my son or your nephew, I can't remember which one of them it was.
It's hard to tell sometimes.
God, this station. One of them said, we need to talk to Mike. To find out exactly what's happening.
My aunt is filling in next week, by the way.
Great. I look forward to working with her.
Yeah.
So anyway, go.
It's Rachel Homan, but it was Mark Kennedy who did it first. Releases the handle, but then there's a slight touch of the granite. Mm-hmm. His finger is extended, and he sort of touches it, which I can believe he might not even know he's doing. It's not significant. Think about it this way. Maybe this is close to a reasonable comparison. You play golf, you're over your ball on the green, and your putter head accidentally touches the ball before you release the club and putt. And I think maybe by the rules, that would be a stroke.
Yeah.
So, what did you do?
You weren't trying to make the shot.
There's almost no difference imaginable. What Kennedy and Homan were doing matters to the outcome. Almost no chance that it means anything. But every sport has these rules where we know it's not that serious, but the other team's objections were that you did it and it's not allowed.
Right. So
why is it a rule then?
Right.
And there was some confusion over even that.
If you're not gaining an advantage from doing it, why are you doing it in the first place?
Yeah, and then I thought of talking about Barry Bonds after that.
Right.
Because people would defend Barry Bonds for taking whatever he was taking. Why is he taking it?
Right.
So, that's a different one. But, yeah, almost no way does it mean anything. But, the other players are we're not talking. We don't care about that. we're just
You're not supposed to do it.
Yeah, and Kennedy, he went off. I mean, it was obscene. He went off on the guy, and everybody heard it. And after that game, he's like, I've known Erickson for 20 years. I've never accused him of cheating. And my mind went to, well, maybe he doesn't.
Right.
What are you, a hero because you never accused him of doing something he didn't do?
Right.
So I hated that point.
Yeah, that's not.
Kennedy should calm down.
That's what a cheater says.
I never.
I think right.
Called this on you.
That's
well,
not.
Why is that the point?
Yeah, that is not the way you go about that.
So Kennedy's wound really tight. Super intense guy. He's also great. And again, I don't think what he did is meaningful, but it's also probably illegal.
Then cut it out.
And part of the Canadians, they think they're being targeted, right? And they're kind of saying these people who are in these positions to be officials are completely unqualified to be doing it. Like, they've never had to make line calls. They don't even know what they're watching, which is probably right.
Mm-hmm.
I go to a lot of these events. The officials never do anything.
They're volunteers.
Usually
probably,
have to.
Right?
I've seen a couple of situations where the players needed an official. They couldn't find one. Like, they're usually pretty old, and they're just kind of there.
It's not like the umpire at a tennis match, basically. No, it's not that.
It's not like that.
Yeah.
In most of these cases, maybe it's different at the Olympics, but I see some of the same faces at all the events, and like they're barely awake. It seems sometimes.
Well,
so
I did. I don't know if you've seen this. I don't know how widely it's made the rounds, but it did make it onto my Twitter feed. The new Canadian hockey plan. And there's it's footage from a game. I don't remember which country is in goal, but there's a goalie there defending and some defensemen around. And then this Kennedy, I believe it's him, is on his knees flicking the puck with his index finger into the net.
Yeah, there are memes. There have been memes.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good job right there.
They could still easily win gold. Even the women are not dead, even though they've had a tougher time. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550. This is WGR. Is it realistic to think the Bills could want to sign Tyreek Hill? They seem more like a Nick Westbrook-Akine team to me, the Bills. Mm-hmm. Is that a shot? Maybe it's a shot. That seems like the kind of guy that should get through here. We should have him for a month.
Westbrook-Akine, you mean? Yeah.
Journeyman, 10 targets.
Find what his highest output was in a single season and say, well, we can get that out of him. Sort of like they did with Josh Palmer last year.
Right.
They caught 70 balls 2 years ago. Okay. What about the rest?
This guy, he's had his moments in the league. The name doesn't help him. Seems like kind of like you play fantasy and Nick Westbrook-Akine catches 2 touchdowns instead of their number one guy, whoever it is, and you're irate. You're like, just...
Who is that guy?
Who's
the 3-name guy?
Right.
Yeah.
He had a career-high 497 yards for Tennessee in 2024 and 9 touchdowns on 32 catches.
9 touchdowns in a single season?
2024.
Go get that guy.
9 touchdowns on 32 catches.
The touchdowns are, I know we're out of football season now. The season ended a little more than a week ago now, but those count for points.
They're big. And he went to Indiana, so you probably love him. Don't you have
I did.
Emotional ties?
No, that's new. It does go back to Michael Penix. If he was there with Michael Penix, no. Okay.
Came into the league in 2020.
Okay.
Dolphins said to be releasing him as well. Not just Tyreek Hill. Also Bradley Chubb. Another guy that's, we could talk about if you wanted. What I read was, his performance has fallen way off. Chubb.
Yeah, it's a guy that you might want to, I might want to go see what exactly the 8.5 sacks looked like. Because he's got maybe 20 sacks the last 2 full years he's played total, which is, pretty good. But are they sacks that are just sort of, the guy ran into you kind of, you know what I mean? Like, are you raising hell up there, or are you just on the field a lot?
We'll have to have a tail of the tape between Bradley Chubb's sacks and Nick Westbrook's-Akine touchdowns.
Yeah.
Let's go through it.
A lot of the advanced stuff on Chubb tells you he was just a guy, mostly. Right? His win rate wasn't good. Like, I just think I'd be pretty skeptical about him, too, unless it is really just whatever. We'll take a flyer. It's slow money. If it's that great. If he's getting paid based on his production, no thanks.
803-0550, Sabres playoff chances, trade deadline, Tyreek Hill, and we went in on Keon Coleman a little bit earlier. It's all on the table for you. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
The Miami Dolphins may already be turning their attention to 2027 as they released 4 players earlier today. Wide receivers Tyreek Hill and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, along with edge rusher Bradley Chubb and guard James Daniels. These moves do have a dead cap hit of $56 million, but it is expected to clear $66.9 million. While the other news in the NFL is the Browns finding their defensive coordinator in Mike Ruttenberg. Ruttenberg spent last season in Atlanta as the team's defensive pass game coordinator. Over to the Olympics, the United States women's team in hockey continue their domination. They handled Sweden today 5-0. They will now play for gold against Team Canada after Canada took down Switzerland 2-1. That game will be on Thursday at 1 and a rematch from earlier in this tournament as the U.S. beat Canada in the prelims 5-0. On the other side of things, the men, they are going to play either Sweden or Latvia in the quarterfinals on Wednesday, and we'll get the winner of that tomorrow when Sweden and Latvia play just after 3 p.m. And your medal count currently sees Norway in front at 28, Italy in second with 23, and the United States in third with 19. Norway also has the lead in the most gold medals won so far with 12. That is your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp.
You might be mocking me or you might be staunchly agreeing with me. I can't tell.
I'm mocking you.
And the Bulldog.
What is Fozzie Bear's role in this production?
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
What kind of a GM would you be?
Terrible.
If terrible. You don't really mean that. You think? Which sport?
I've never thought I'd be good at it.
Really?
Yeah. I get too emotionally attached to everything. Like
Yeah.
I'm not. I really. I mean, and this is not like not like being hard on myself. It just is in my nature to like. Oh, like that's why I'm talking so strongly about Keon Coleman now, because I fell for the summer thing, which was like, look at him, look at this catch, wow, yeah, and his route running is more
Depends on the day.
more intentional. Like he's learned. I bought a bunch of stuff because I wanted it to be true because the Bills needed it to be true. Whatever, didn't sink their season or anything. I mean, they still had won 12 games. But so what makes you do that is you get emotionally attached to things. And I think that's a bad trait for a general manager.
Yeah, that's probably what I would find the hardest part. I need to cut this player, trade him even.
Right.
I don't want to do it.
I know how hard he's worked. Right. I mean, you probably think everybody works hard, but maybe there's guys that you just, you see them there early. Not saying this is Coleman or anything, but whatever. You just grow. You really want it to happen. You want it to work, and that's not. I don't think that's a successful way to run any sports enterprise. So I don't think I'd be good at it mainly for that reason.
What I was thinking of, though, by asking you this is, like, how public would you be? Earlier, a caller brought up Joe Brady made a comment about Coleman after he got hired, and it was pretty strongly worded that he likes Coleman and that he'll be here. And, this often is one point that fans react to, or even we would, is, well, is it spin? And who is it serving? Is it serving the Bills because really they just want to trade him? Wink, wink. Mm-hmm. He's great. We love him. He's going to be here, and you're just trying to increase his trade value. I said to that, I mean, if my team has a GM who falls for that, he should be fired. Like, I want to be a little bit more of a deep thinker in this job than that. But I think saying that, I mean, I know what my strengths are, and I'd want to be out there. And maybe I'd be somebody that would have a reputation for, when he says it, watch out, Billy Bean or somebody. I'm not Billy Bean, but somebody that would try to be working the room a little bit, rather than just, I mean, any of these guys can do the same job in private. Of course, they're all having conversations all the time about players and ideas. Just because they're not doing it publicly doesn't mean that's not happening. I think I'd have a little bit of an ego at it. I trust myself to be able to word these things kind of properly and maybe even to my advantage, and I'd want to be out there. I wouldn't want to be somebody afraid to talk about my team. I like this about Bean. I don't know if he's spooked by last year. He did plenty of media around that time, and he's done some since.
Yeah, he did a good amount. Enough to say I've referenced this a couple times. And I think it's hard not to be someone who cares about what is being said and written about you. But I think the sooner you get to a point in your life where you don't worry about that, the better. But again, it can be hard, especially when you're younger. You just maybe have a harder time being able to, settle into, I've got this job, I'm comfortable in my own skin, I'm not going to worry about all the stuff over there. And I've got Bean this year in the wake of hiring Joe Brady, F the noise, which I don't know what's the noise? Are we the noise? Are the fans the noise? Like, who are you saying F off to exactly? That's a little off-putting, I would say, myself, considering the circumstances here. But, if he's right, I mean, the point is you're going to like what we do if we win, which, of course, is undeniably true. But
that's always true.
Yeah. I don't know that I'd want to put my name on exactly as harshly as he did talking to Tyler Dunn, that I don't care what you think. You, the paying customer, you, the PSL owner, you, the business that advertises with us. You might want to pump the brakes a little bit until there's some flags flying over there of some kind that aren't just ones with your logo on them. But, okay.
Zing.
So I don't think I'd want to be like that guy, because I think the easiest person to see through in any walk of life is the person that loudly and with swear words thrown in for emphasis needs to tell you how little they care about what anyone else thinks, because that usually, to me, it has often been, in my experience, a tip-off that they are way too consumed by whatever you out there are saying.
See, that's a good one. That's another one that I think a lot of guys get wrong. Because this is a Darcy Regier point I was fond of making when he was here. You absolutely should care about what people are saying. And so should we. So should anybody in sort of a public eye. But that doesn't mean you have to respond to it or take it to mean anything.
But if it's valid, you can take it to heart.
Nobody's beyond reproach here. Like, you should be available. If I were a GM, back to that, I'd want to be somebody that could deal with the scrutiny, the criticism, because there'd be a lot of it always. I mean, how many games have the Bills won with Brandon Beane? But yet, for the last year, he's been, the problem kind of. So, but you still, like Darcy would say stuff like that. He would say, I can't listen to the fans. That's not a direct quote, but he would talk like that.
Yeah.
That he couldn't do it or wouldn't do it. And I never really respected that. I think you have to do it. I think you have to know. And I feel like, to your point, Bean does.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's definitely paying attention to the conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like Brady might too, but I think Bean definitely does. And I don't think that's a bad thing. You should know. And whether that probably shouldn't mean that he'll trade players that fans don't like.
Right.
But it should mean, what are your customers saying about the team, the job you're doing and have done? You'd want to know that. You should have to know that. You should want to know that. As hard as it might be sometimes to listen to, because it can be personal. It can sound personal. It really isn't. But it can sound like they're talking about me, the person.
Yeah.
And that can be hard.
Anything can make you better. Like, if you take it in the right, it's not a direct comparison, obviously, because we're just people talking on the radio. But we get our share of crap, but within it, sometimes are things that I will take to heart, and I won't necessarily write back to someone, but I think that's a good point. and I should try to not do that. Or I should try to do this more often, this thing that you might, whatever. Anything can help. It's just a matter of knowing how to not let it consume you and let it sway your performance, your decision-making, your any of it. And I got to tell you, I am as worried about the Bills in this area as I've been since McDermott and Bean first got here. Because it is, look, they could still be great. Brady might work out. They still got Josh Allen. They get a couple of receivers. The offense might be humming, and they might be as good or better than they've been ever through Allen's career so far. Like, that can definitely happen, despite what I'm about to say. But the lack of judgment that their handling of this entire offseason so far, including Bean telling Tyler Dunn, I don't give a F about the noise. F the noise. Just slow down. Just slow down a little bit. You completely misread the situation with your fan base and McDermott. I mean, completely misread it. To the point where it took Joe Brady a week later, or however long the hiring process took, to actually have someone appear to sincerely thank the guy for 9 years of the best football we've mostly ever experienced without getting to a Super Bowl. I guess I'll have to say it that way. So I'm worried about their ability to avoid the rocks, because I'm not sure they have the right. Their judgment is to be questioned. Pagula's judgment, and I guess I'll include Bean.
Okay.
And that makes me a little worried. But again, it could all work out if they pick a couple of the right players and find a pass rush, and they're going to be off to the races. But I'm worried about that, because I think they've missed on some stuff that was easily avoidable.
Hard to miss on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the McDermott point's a good one.
So
especially.
that has me concerned. But again, I don't want that to be the overarching theme of the offseason, because again, they don't have to be bad or worse than they've been, even just because of that. It just might be a footnote.
Has McDermott spoken yet, other than the statement he made shortly after the news?
I don't believe so, no.
I missed it if he did.
No, I don't think he has. So, obviously, he took this hiring cycle off. I mean, he was not attached to any jobs.
What would be the funniest job for him to take next? That's possibly realistic.
Midday radio host here at WGR Sports Radio 550. That would be something.
I mean, it's not like there isn't a there's not.
Let me tell.
It might be open. I don't know.
Let me tell you what's going on over there.
He comes in.
Right,
my God!
That's him.
Full
right?
disclosure.
Right.
Like John Hoynes writes the tell-all book. McDermott comes in and what do you want to know?
Yeah.
I mean, it frees the soul. There are times when my problem, not that you ask me, but when you talk about criticism you get, my favorite subject in life is this show and radio and why it works and what's good, what's bad. It's my favorite thing to talk about. Sometimes I'll be out and somebody will recognize me and ask a great question about, I've always wondered this about you guys or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I just melt. I love when that happens. My ego is, boosted, and I just love the question. The problem is when it's online, 9 out of 10 times it's not in good faith. So the last thing I'm going to do is respond to it, because this is not in good faith. It's a criticism, and the person might really want to know why it went the way it went, but they're not really asking you. They're just mad.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got no time for that.
Right.
But if you meet somebody that you're the same as this, right?
Yeah,
sure. We've been together at these remotes, and people come up and ask these questions, and we love to talk to people about that.
Yeah,
but when if I'm McDermott, I'd want to be, what do you want to know? But it's just me and you right here.
Right.
What do you want to know? And if I were he and I trusted the other person, you wouldn't do this unless you trusted them. There's only so far I'll go in these random conversations. Right. But if I trusted you, I would tell you almost anything, and I'd want to. It would feel good. This is how it actually is. This is why we punted on that one, or this is why we drafted that player. And I would tell you, it might not be possible for him or somebody in a position like his to ever do that. with somebody he's not really tight with.
Right.
His family probably knows why they did certain things, and people on his staff. But I don't know. You're not going to get him at Wegmans and have him tell you why they drafted Coleman. Like
no.
It has to be a little bit more personal than that.
That's right. Yeah, because you don't. You're still going to be working within the construct eventually, and you don't want to have the scarlet letter on you of a guy who burned a bridge of any kind, like gave away the secrets of any kind. Like when you're all done, maybe write a book. Right? Maybe it'll get turned into a miniseries or something, or a Netflix documentary. Everybody's got a Netflix documentary now. So, great.
At least a podcast.
When you're working and intend to be working again, you're not, because it's just not how it's done. You don't air that. Like, we probably are never going to hear from him what he thinks went down, or what he thinks of how everything went down.
Yeah.
Because it's not a time or a place where that doesn't make him look bad.
Here's Mike with us. Hi, Mike.
Hey, I got a couple things. The first thing is I'm not much of a curler, but I do have an experience that may explain why you can't touch the stone a second time.
Okay, let's hear it.
When you release it. In 1975, this goes back a while, one of my college classmates was a member of the Park Country Club. And he would take me out there on Thursday nights and we'd goof around. And I picked it up pretty quick. And I remember I kept touching the stone when I let go. And Dave would get on my back. And finally, I said, okay. So I changed how I did it. I was not near as accurate. So I don't think it's so much of a thing of influencing the stone as it's a technique issue. It was easier for me to do it when I kept my wrist in a position where I kept bumping the stone. When I had to lift it off and go into ulnar deviation, it created a problem for me. But
I also struggle with ulnar deviation.
What?
Nothing. Go ahead. Sorry, it's just being stupid.
Oh, I'm a physical therapist. Ulnar deviation is a.
I got
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
It's fine. You know, I don't.
Anyhow,
yeah, go ahead.
Let me just add one thing. I ended up being pretty proficient at the game, and one of the guys on their team that was going to the men's seniors national dropped out, and they were desperate, so they took me, and I had just maybe curled maybe a dozen times, and we came in second in New York State in the men's seniors, but they only let me sweep, and they said I was a good sweeper. But that's neither here nor there, but I think it's an issue that you have to hold your hand a certain way to let go of the stone more than just touching it. I don't think that influenced it. But when Dave forced me not to touch it, it was more difficult.
Very good.
Okay, and then the other thing is, let's hold on to Coleman, because when we got him, he had a great rookie camp. Everybody was raving about his catches. And at the time he got hurt, he was way ahead of Xavier stat-wise. And then Poyer put his helmet, his hat on his hand, and he's never been the same. I think that Brady wants to capture lightning in a bottle and see if he can get Coleman back to where he was.
Okay, and my thing here is that he's never been that good. Like, you want to talk about rookie camp hype. Name a year. Tell me who the first-round pick was. Everybody's always in love. Was a questionable prospect. He's had one game in his career that anybody could rave about, and that was in the fourth quarter against Baltimore in that fluky situation in the opener. So I'm not here for the he was actually injured narrative and that he hasn't been the same. When was he good? I mean, I don't know. But that doesn't mean he can't ever be good. I just don't think we're talking about a guy that was derailed by injury.
I just think if they have to hang on to him, they better have three better ideas in front of them. That's all.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they think.
Yeah.
I would guess it probably is.
I don't need him off the team, but I need them to not be counting on him to be like somebody who's going to catch 70 passes and 5 touchdowns for them.
Did you know he has exactly one catch in every playoff game the last 2 years?
I did not know that. One in each one.
One in each one. Touchdown against Denver. Third quarter, they were down, 23-10? The field goal before the half. Was that 20-10? Anyway, he caught a touchdown pass 10 yards in the third quarter of the Denver game. He had one big one against Jacksonville on a catch and run.
Right. Yeah.
Then last year, front to back, 1 for 5 against Denver, 1 for 5 against Baltimore, 1 for 12 against Kansas City. I mean, trivia.
Well, you can set your clock to that.
One catch exactly. If he stays and he gets one, that's it. You got to take him out.
It's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
He only gets one.
Right.
He's only allowed one per game.
Don't pick him as your one guy on the Bills in a playoff pool.
Listen to this.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Did we talk about it? I don't know if we did, but I did not get home in those tournaments. And this happens. You don't have to tell me, but it's because Drake May ended up throwing for 295 and 2 in that Super Bowl. Which, what did he have going into the fourth quarter?
They had
no first downs.
78 yards through 3 quarters of that game.
Right.
As a team.
They had no first downs in the second quarter or the third quarter at all.
Yeah.
And so Henderson wasn't hitting, but it wasn't hurting me because May wasn't doing anything. A lot of guys had May.
Yeah.
And Allen would have been the optimal, even though he only played 2 games because the stats were great. But May gets there in the garbage time against Seattle, and that changed the outcome of the tournaments.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, me too. I'm sorry that it's true. I'm sorry that it happened. Garbage time is so much fun when it helps you. And it's so annoying. It's so annoying to lose to it.
It's the best.
It is the best. It is the best when it's yours. Chad DeDominis expected Buffalo on the Olympic hockey tournaments and the Sabres with the trade deadline coming up. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.